The actor behind you. You ever get that sudden prickling feeling on the back of your neck, like a shadow just shifted? Or a gaze you can't see is tracing your every move? That sensation that somewhere behind you, someone is watching. Not just observing, but watching you. Closely. Deeply. Like you're no longer the subject of your own story, but a character in someone else's play. What if I told you this is more than just a feeling? What if you were not the original actor in your own life, but a copy, performing the script written and enacted by someone else, someone who knows you better than you know yourself? This isn't science fiction. It's a chilling, unsettling psychological truth that challenges the very essence of identity, agency, and self-awareness. It's the paradox of the actor behind you. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that every choice you make, every thought you think, every emotion that stirs inside is a rehearsal of a role already performed by another self. A self that shadows you like a ghost on a stage, with you trapped in a loop of imitation. You watch yourself from a distance, like a secondhand mirror, a reflection of a reflection, unsure which version is the original, the one acting behind you, or the one in front of the mirror. This experience isn't just metaphorical. Psychology and neuroscience offer glimpses into this phenomenon. Mirror neurons in our brain fire when we observe others performing actions, as if we were doing them ourselves. This neural mimicry forms the basis of empathy, learning, and social bonding. But sometimes, this system can malfunction, causing an unsettling dissociation between self and other. You begin to feel less like the author of your own actions, and more like a spectator, an actor rehearsing lines learned by watching the unseen playwright. Consider cases of dissociative identity disorder, where multiple selves inhabit one body, each unaware of the other, or the psychological phenomenon of depersonalization, where a person feels detached from their own body or thoughts, as if they are watching themselves from outside. In these states, the boundaries between the actor and the audience blur, and the feeling of being watched or controlled intensifies. The actor behind you becomes not just a metaphor, but a lived reality, a shadow self you cannot escape. But this feeling extends beyond clinical diagnosis. It seeps into everyday life, into the way social media shapes our identities. We craft personas online, and then unconsciously perform for those personas, altering our behavior to fit the expectations of followers, likes, and comments. Are we then acting for ourselves or for an audience? Are we the actors or the acted upon? The digital world accelerates this split, fragmenting identity and casting shadows of ourselves that watch from behind screens. The phenomenon even finds roots in ancient philosophy. Plato's allegory of the cave is a vivid metaphor. Prisoners watch shadows cast on the wall and mistake them for reality. What if your self is just a shadow cast by a deeper, hidden actor? The person behind the scenes pulling the strings may be your subconscious, shaped by experiences, traumas, and cultural programming that you never consciously chose but endlessly reenact. You think you're acting, but you might just be a replica, trapped in a performance written long before you arrived. Take an example from everyday experience. Think of the habits you follow automatically, your morning routine, your mannerisms, the way you respond to stress. How many of those are truly your own choices, and how many are scripts handed down by your family, your culture, or your environment? You may feel like the star of your life, but sometimes you're just the understudy, learning lines from an unseen predecessor. The actor behind you sets the pace, and you rush to keep up. The psychological danger of this is the loss of agency. When you feel watched by this shadow actor, a part of you may shrink back, fearing that your authentic self is lost, replaced by a performance. This fear can lead to paralysis, anxiety, and alienation. You might start questioning if your desires are yours, or echoes of someone else's ambitions. The lines between self and imitation dissolve until you can no longer trust the script you're reading or the audience you're addressing. Yet there is a strange power in recognizing this phenomenon. When you become aware of the actor behind you, the invisible scriptwriter, you gain the ability to rewrite the play. Awareness breaks the loop. You realize that while you may have been a copy, you also possess the power to become original. To step out from the shadow, take the pen, and author your own story. This struggle between being acted upon and acting yourself is the core of human identity. Every great artist, writer, or thinker wrestles with the tension between influence and originality. The actor behind you is both a prison and a muse, a haunting presence that can trap or inspire. Understanding this paradox is a step toward reclaiming the self from the shadows. Now, what about the idea that someone literally watches you and acts you out? That your life is being mimicked by another, unknown entity? This crosses into unsettling theories in philosophy and metaphysics, parallel selves, simulation hypotheses, and even ideas of a doppelganger self that lives in another dimension. Though these ideas may sound like science fiction, they echo the deeper human experience of dissociation and identity confusion. They dramatize the internal conflict of feeling watched and performed. In literature and cinema, this theme has been explored through characters who confront their doubles, whether in Dostoevsky's The Double or films like Enemy and Black Swan. The doubling symbolizes our fragmented selves, the performer and the observer, the original and the copy. It is a universal human conflict writ large, the search for authentic identity amid layers of imitation. But beyond art, the most profound examples come from real life. People who report feeling controlled by an unseen force, or who believe they are actors in a pre-written play, offer testimonies of this psychological phenomenon. It might be explained by brain chemistry, trauma, or dissociative disorders, but the intensity and reality of their experience is undeniable. They live the paradox of being both the actor and the acted upon, both the self and the shadow. To truly grasp the actor behind you, you must look inward and outward simultaneously. Your self is not a fixed point, but a shifting interplay of roles, influences, and perceptions. Sometimes you watch, sometimes you act, sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. This dance can feel like possession or liberation, depending on your awareness. So, next time you feel that gaze, that shadow, that watching presence behind you, don't recoil. Instead, lean into the question it raises. Who is really the actor, and who holds the script? Because the power lies in your awareness, your choice to break the cycle, to step into the spotlight on your own terms. The actor behind you may be a haunting ghost or a guiding muse, but you have the strength to be more than a copy. You are both the playwright and the performer of your life's story. Once you claim that truth, the stage is yours. The script is waiting. And the eyes behind you? They might just be your own, watching, learning, and ready to act anew. This paradox, this intense mirror of self and other, reveals the fragile, intricate nature of human identity. To be human is to navigate the space between being watched and watching, being performed and performing. It is the eternal tension of consciousness, the actor behind you and the actor within you, forever entwined in a dance of self-discovery. So ask yourself, who is truly watching and who is truly acting? The answer might unsettle you, but it might also set you free. Déjà vu loop error. Have you ever walked into a room and been overwhelmed by a strange, eerie sensation that this exact moment has already happened? Like a script you've seen played out before, but somehow you're the star actor unaware of the rehearsal. This is the phenomenon called déjà vu, a fleeting yet powerful glitch in our experience of reality. But what if déjà vu isn't just a quirk of memory? What if it's evidence of a deeper, far more complex cosmic malfunction? What if your consciousness is tapping into a loop, a rendering error in the fabric of existence, a scene rehearsed in another dimension, now echoing into your present? Déjà vu means already seen in French, and millions across the world report this uncanny experience. It's like a ripple across the surface of time, an instant when the present becomes past, and the boundary between memory and reality blurs. Scientists have studied déjà vu for decades, exploring its neurological roots, but the explanation remains elusive. Neurologically, it's often linked to a misfiring in the temporal lobe, where memories are processed, a split-second error causing the brain to mistake the present moment for a memory. But this explanation only scratches the surface. It accounts for the sensation, but not the profound emotional weight and the unsettling certainty that some moments are more than coincidence. They are repetitions, echoes of a previous reality. Imagine the world as a vast, multi-layered simulation where every moment is rendered continuously by a cosmic processor. Now, consider that sometimes, due to a glitch or a loop, a particular scene is rehearsed again, like a frame replayed out of sequence. You're not merely recalling an old memory. You're witnessing a ripple of another dimension's timeline bleeding through into yours. The déjà vu moment is that glitch, a loop error in the rendering of reality itself. In some interpretations of quantum mechanics and multiverse theory, countless parallel realities exist simultaneously, layered upon one another like pages in a book. Each page contains its own version of you, living out a similar but subtly different story. What if, in these infinite layers, certain events echo or align so precisely that your consciousness briefly synchronizes with the you in a parallel dimension? That synchronization manifests as déjà vu, a momentary cross-connection, a shared memory across realities. Take this example. You enter a cafe in an unfamiliar city and feel, without explanation, that you've been here before, heard the same music, smelled the same coffee, met the same barista. There is no logical memory of this place, yet the feeling is undeniable, visceral. This might be the result of your mind tuning into a loop, a repeated scene rehearsed in a nearby dimension. Your perception is momentarily a witness to the rendering of that alternate timeline, and you catch the echo as if it were your own memory. This theory raises deep questions about free will and determinism. If moments are loops rehearsed across dimensions, does that mean our lives are predestined, scripted, and repeated? Or are we fragments of consciousness wandering through a fractured multiverse, occasionally crossing paths with ourselves? Is déjà vu a glitch that reminds us of our fragmented nature, that we are not isolated beings but echoes in a greater cosmic symphony? Scientists studying epilepsy have found that patients with temporal lobe seizures often experience intense déjà vu just before an episode, supporting the neurological basis of memory overlap. But this doesn't negate the metaphysical mystery. It merely hints that the brain's architecture can mimic or channel deeper universal glitches. Some parapsychologists propose that déjà vu might be a window into past lives or future visions, a transient piercing of the veil that usually separates time and space. Consider the Mandela effect, where large groups remember events differently from recorded history. Some theorists argue that these collective memory shifts are related to similar glitches in the matrix of reality, where timelines overlap or shift like waves colliding. Déjà vu may be the individual's version of this phenomenon, a personal feedback from the tangled web of time. Philosophically, déjà vu challenges our understanding of identity and experience. How do we trust the reality we perceive if moments can loop, rewind, or echo from other dimensions? If memory is fallible and reality is a rendering prone to errors, what anchors our sense of self? Maybe déjà vu is a subtle reminder that we are more than what we perceive, part of a larger, multidimensional narrative constantly in flux. The emotional impact of déjà vu is another layer to unravel. Why does this glitch sometimes evoke nostalgia, fear, or profound insight? Because in that fleeting instant, our mind senses the impermanence of time, the fragility of existence. It's a moment where past, present, and future collapse into a singular point, a cosmic pause where the simulation flickers and reveals its seams. Artists and writers have long been fascinated by déjà vu. In literature, it's used to explore themes of fate, memory, and the supernatural. In films, it creates suspense by suggesting hidden layers of reality. But beyond fiction, the phenomenon invites us to question the solidity of our world. Are we trapped in a looping simulation? Are we actors unknowingly repeating scenes written in a script by an unseen hand? Or is déjà vu a signal, a call to awaken to the deeper truths of our existence? Some spiritual traditions view déjà vu as a sign of awakening or spiritual insight, moments when the soul remembers its eternal journey beyond time. It's a glimpse beyond the veil, a crack in the illusion of linear time, revealing the timeless nature of consciousness. In this view, déjà vu is not a malfunction, but a message, a reminder that reality is layered and interconnected. Modern technology increasingly uses rendering metaphors to describe consciousness and reality. Virtual reality, video games, and simulations give us a language to understand these glitches. Just as a computer game can experience lag or frame drops, so too might our experience of reality falter under the immense complexity of existence. When you next experience déjà vu, try to pause and observe it deeply. Notice the sensations, the emotions, the thoughts racing through your mind. Recognize that you are catching an echo, a brief replay of a scene that transcends ordinary memory. You are glimpsing the looping thread of time, a cosmic echo reverberating through your mind. This moment is rare, precious, and profound. Ultimately, déjà vu is a reminder that reality is not as fixed or certain as it appears. It hints at a universe far stranger and more mysterious than we can imagine. A universe where time loops, dimensions overlap, and consciousness is the thread weaving it all together. In the strange feeling of familiarity that sweeps over you, you touch the edges of a cosmic error, a glitch that reveals the infinite complexity and beauty of existence. Moon as an eye. The moon has long been more than just a glowing rock in our night sky. Imagine it not as a mere satellite orbiting Earth, but as a cosmic eye, watching, observing, silently witnessing the flow of life below. The moon doesn't just circle us, it holds a deeper purpose, an ancient role as a guardian and observer of consciousness itself. Across cultures and ages, the moon has been a symbol of mystery, change, and hidden forces. Ancient people saw it as a deity, a mystical presence influencing tides, emotions, and even fate. But what if this reverence reflected a real truth? What if the moon's light is a lens focusing on human consciousness, watching not only physical movements, but the subtle shifts within our minds and souls? Scientifically, the moon's gravitational pull shapes the tides, the rise and fall of Earth's oceans. But tides are not just physical. They can be seen as metaphors for emotional currents, the ebb and flow of feelings and memory inside us. Our bodies, mostly water, respond to these cycles, linking us in subtle ways to this cosmic observer. The moon's phases, waxing, full, waning, new, mirror cycles within us. Growth, peak, release, rest. Many cultures regarded the moon as an embodiment of the unconscious. It governs dreams, intuition, and transformation. Its gentle light reveals what remains hidden in daylight. If the moon is an eye, it watches these inner worlds, reflecting our collective psyche back to us, quietly witnessing our fears, hopes, and deepest secrets. Physics even hints at the power of observation to shape reality. Quantum experiments show that what is observed can change how it behaves. Could the moon's constant gaze influence human consciousness on a subtle level? Could its silent watching help shape the rhythms of life and mind, guiding us through cycles of transformation without our knowing? The moon's light is not harsh or intrusive. It is soft, mysterious, inviting reflection rather than distraction. It calls us to pause, to slow down, and to look inward. Many report heightened emotions or vivid dreams during full moons, moments when the moon's eye seems wide open, shining its gaze on our inner world, stirring unseen forces. Some ancient traditions even believe the moon to be sentient, alive with awareness. It was a guardian, a witness to the endless cycle of birth, death, and renewal. As an eye, it watches over the eternal dance of existence, reminding us that everything changes, that life flows in cycles, and that transformation is constant. In modern times, the moon has been explored physically, but its metaphysical mystery remains. The moon as an eye is not a physical organ, but a symbol of consciousness, an eternal watcher of life's unfolding story. It holds space between the known and unknown, the seen and unseen, offering a quiet presence amid chaos. When you look at the moon tonight, imagine it as a cosmic eye, watching over you, not with judgment but with compassionate stillness. It sees your struggles and dreams, your light and shadow. It is a silent guardian, a beacon in the night, reflecting the infinite mysteries of existence back to your own inner gaze. The moon's eye is a mirror, inviting you to awaken your own awareness, to become both observer and observed in this great cosmic dance. Through its watchful light, we are reminded of our connection to something greater, a vast web of consciousness that transcends space and time. In that silent observation, there is an invitation to see ourselves and the universe with new eyes, to embrace mystery, and to honor the cycles of life within and around us. The moon is not just a celestial body. It is a cosmic witness, a luminous eye, forever watching, forever reflecting the endless journey of consciousness itself. Puzzle World Assembly. Everything you see, hear, touch, taste, and feel is not random. It's a puzzle, a complex assembly of pieces carefully placed to create your version of reality. But here's the unsettling part. That puzzle was put together by someone or something, not you. something with a design, a purpose, a method. The world you experience is a constructed mosaic, just coherent enough to trap you inside its edges. Think about it. Your senses constantly flood you with data: light, sound, pressure, temperature, but your brain never presents this as raw chaos. Instead, it filters, organizes, and assembles these inputs into an orderly picture. It's as if the brain is the master puzzle solver, fitting pieces together into a coherent image called the world. Yet, this image is not the whole truth. It's a map, a model, a simulation, one that convinces you that what you see is reality itself. This puzzle assembly is astonishingly intricate. Your mind selects fragments from infinite possibilities, discards countless alternatives, and binds the rest into a seamless experience. This assembly process is so sophisticated, you never notice it happening. The edges between pieces are hidden. The gaps are filled with assumptions, beliefs, and interpretations. The result? A reality so convincing that you trust it implicitly. But why is it assembled this way? Why is your perception designed to be just coherent enough but limited? Because this puzzle serves a function. It contains you, frames you, keeps you within bounds. The coherence tricks you into believing you're free, that the world is solid, stable, and objective. But the puzzle is also a cage, one whose walls you cannot see because they are made of perception itself. Imagine a puzzle with infinite pieces. Your mind chooses which pieces to use. It discards others as irrelevant, invisible, or impossible to fit. The choices are governed by your biology, your history, your culture, your language, your brain's wiring. So, the puzzle you live in is unique to you, but also shaped by forces beyond your control. You don't choose the puzzle's rules or the pieces you receive. You inherit them. Consider optical illusions, images where your brain assembles pieces into shapes that don't really exist. A classic example is the Canissa triangle, where your mind creates a bright triangle out of disconnected shapes. The triangle isn't there, but your brain fills the gaps to complete the puzzle. This shows that perception is not passive reception, but active construction. Your reality is a similar, infinitely more complex illusion. Another example is memory. Your mind assembles fragments of past experience into narratives, stories that feel real and consistent. Yet, memories are malleable, reconstructed every time you recall them. The puzzle of your past is remade constantly, sometimes adding, removing, or reshaping pieces to maintain coherence or serve emotional needs. The reality of your history is a constructed mosaic, not a fixed record. This puzzle assembly extends beyond your mind to society. Cultures, beliefs, and shared stories form collective puzzles, frameworks that millions agree upon to make sense of the world. Laws, languages, religions, social norms are pieces placed to assemble a shared reality. These shared puzzles keep society stable, but they also confine thought and limit perspective. The puzzle becomes both a foundation and a prison. Who or what is the assembler? Science offers one answer. Your brain and nervous system evolved over millions of years, shaped by survival pressures to create useful models of the world, not objective truths. Philosophy and spirituality offer other answers, suggesting the assembler is consciousness itself, or a universal intelligence, or an unknown force shaping reality to teach, challenge, or trap you. Whatever the origin, the consequences are profound. If your world is a puzzle assembly, then your experience is a selection, a filtering, a partial reveal. This means that reality is not fixed, but fluid, shifting with changes in perception, belief, or awareness. What you see as solid might dissolve with new insight. The puzzle edges might soften, and new pieces might emerge, expanding your understanding. This realization can be terrifying or liberating. Terrifying because it shakes the foundation of certainty. If your world is a constructed puzzle, can you trust anything? Liberating because it reveals possibility, that by understanding the puzzle's assembly, you can change the pieces, rearrange the fragments, and glimpse beyond the edges. Many spiritual traditions hint at this. They describe awakening as seeing the puzzle for what it is, a constructed illusion, and stepping outside it. They speak of dissolving the boundaries, transcending the assembly, and accessing a reality beyond the puzzle. This awakening is not just mystical metaphor, but a profound psychological and experiential shift. Science, too, edges toward this understanding, Quantum physics suggests that reality at its core is not fixed, but probabilistic and interconnected, that observation affects outcome. Neuroscience reveals how perception is active construction. Psychology exposes cognitive biases and illusions. Together, they show us that our experience is a puzzle assembled from parts, some visible, some hidden. So, how do you begin to question your puzzle? Start by noticing when your mind fills in gaps, when it makes assumptions, when it feels stuck in a pattern of thinking. Practice stepping back and observing your perceptions and beliefs as constructions, not facts. Cultivate curiosity about the edges of your awareness, what lies beyond the familiar picture. Meditation and mindfulness can help. They train you to witness thoughts, sensations, and perceptions without immediate acceptance or rejection. This witnessing loosens the puzzle's grip, allowing you to see its parts as transient pieces, not permanent reality. Over time, this awareness can reveal new dimensions of experience, challenge your assumptions, explore other cultures, ideas, and perspectives. By encountering alternative puzzles, you expand your own. This is the beginning of freedom, realizing your puzzle is not the only one, and that the assembler's hand can be guided. This doesn't mean abandoning reality or living in fantasy. It means recognizing the difference between the world as it appears and the world as it is, between your perception and existence itself. This awareness is the gateway to deeper understanding, wisdom, and peace. In the end, the puzzle world assembly is both a trap and a gift. It confines you, but also provides the structure to experience and grow. It limits your vision but invites curiosity. It creates boundaries but points beyond them. You are both the puzzle piece and the assembler, the trapped and the seeker, the constructed and the creator. In this paradox lies the mystery of existence. By embracing this mystery, you awaken to the possibility that the reality you know is not final, but a work in progress, an evolving mosaic waiting for you to rearrange its pieces, to step beyond its edges, and to discover the vastness beyond the assembled world. You are dreaming this. You are dreaming this. Not metaphorically, but literally. Right now, as you listen to these words, you are drifting through layers of reality, where the borders between waking life and dreams blur and fold into each other like waves folding into the shore. This life you experience, the people you meet, the places you inhabit, the sensations you feel, all might be the fading edge of a dream you cannot quite remember. The true question is, which reality is real? Are you truly awake, or is this waking world itself just another dream within a deeper, hidden reality? Our minds have long struggled to define the nature of consciousness and existence. Philosophers, mystics, and scientists alike wrestle with the concept that life as we know it could be an illusion, an ephemeral flicker on the vast canvas of being. The idea that we are dreaming this life is not new. It stretches back to ancient traditions like the Vedantic teachings of India, which propose that the waking world is Maya, illusion, and the ultimate truth lies beyond what our senses perceive. Similarly, the Taoist notion of Zhuangzi's butterfly dream asks whether we are a man dreaming he is a butterfly or a butterfly dreaming he is a man. This paradox invites us to question the solidity of our waking reality. From a scientific perspective, the dream hypothesis touches on neuroscience, quantum physics, and the philosophy of mind. Sleep studies reveal that our brains create remarkably vivid and immersive worlds during dreaming states, worlds that can feel as tangible and real as our waking hours. The neural processes active during dreams overlap with those engaged in perception and memory during wakefulness. This challenges the simple notion that dreams are separate or less real than the waking state. If the brain can conjure entire realities internally, how can we be sure the reality we call waking isn't also a constructed, dreamlike experience? Consider the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, where the dreamer becomes aware they are dreaming and can even manipulate the dream world. Lucid dreams highlight the incredible flexibility of consciousness and the porous boundary between subjective experience and external reality. If one can consciously navigate and alter a dreamscape as vivid as the waking world, it blurs the line between what is real and what is imagined. But this idea becomes even more unsettling when you realize that your waking life might itself be a dream, one you cannot control or fully comprehend. Think of how sometimes, in moments of déjà vu, reality flickers and the world seems momentarily unreal or repetitive, as if you are caught in a glitch in the matrix of existence. These moments are glimpses of that dreamlike quality of life, a reminder that your conscious experience may be transient, fragile, and woven from patterns far beyond your understanding. Philosopher René Descartes famously questioned how we can trust our senses, suggesting the possibility of a malicious demon deceiving us, or, in modern terms, that we could be brains in vats, fed artificial experiences indistinguishable from reality. This skepticism echoes the dream argument. If all our sensory experiences could be false, how can we ever truly claim certainty about the external world? In recent decades, the concept of simulated realities has entered scientific discourse, particularly through hypotheses like the simulation theory. Proponents suggest that what we perceive as reality may be a sophisticated computer simulation, akin to an advanced dream generated by a higher intelligence. The boundaries between simulation, illusion, and dream collapse in this framework, underscoring how precarious our sense of realness truly is. Yet, even if this life is a dream or simulation, it does not lessen its significance. The emotions you feel, the struggles you endure, the joys you savor, all are experienced by your consciousness in profound ways. Dreams, no matter how ephemeral, carry weight in our inner worlds. They shape who we are and how we perceive ourselves. The question becomes not only is this real, but what does it mean if this is a dream we cannot wake from? Throughout history, mystics and spiritual teachers have suggested that awakening from this dreamlike existence is possible through deep introspection, meditation, and self-realization. The concept of enlightenment can be seen as waking up from the illusion of the self and the material world, revealing an underlying unity that transcends ordinary perception. If life is a dream, then awakening is the journey to see beyond the veil and grasp the eternal reality beneath the flickering images. Even science is converging on this idea. Quantum mechanics challenges classical notions of reality with phenomena like superposition and entanglement, suggesting that observation itself influences the state of the system. In some interpretations, consciousness is not a passive observer, but an active participant in shaping reality. This resonates deeply with the dream hypothesis. Reality is not fixed, but fluid, entangled with the observer's mind. Let's also reflect on the emotional impact of this notion. To think that this life is a dream can provoke anxiety or nihilism, but it can also inspire awe and liberation. Imagine the weight lifted when you realize the limitations of the waking world and open yourself to possibilities beyond it. The dream is not a prison, but a doorway, a temporary stage upon which your soul or consciousness enacts its mysteries. Consider the paradox of dreams that feel more real than reality itself. Have you ever woken from a dream that lingered vividly in your mind, carrying emotions as potent as waking life? These experiences suggest that our sense of reality is flexible and dependent on the quality of consciousness, not just external stimuli. So, when you look around and see the familiar world, ask yourself, is this the waking reality or a dream within a dream? The trees, the sky, the faces you know, are they solid, or are they shadows in the theater of your mind? If this is a dream, what is its meaning? Who dreams it? And will you ever awaken to the truth beneath? In the end, perhaps the most profound insight is that the dream and the dreamer are inseparable. You cannot step outside yourself to judge which is real. The dream is your reality, and your reality is the dream. To live is to dream is to live, and somewhere in between lies the mystery of consciousness itself. You are dreaming this. Let it sink deep into your awareness, like a whispered secret from the edges of existence. This life flickers, unstable, shifting, elusive, but within it lies the infinite potential of consciousness to awaken, to transform, and to transcend the boundaries of what we call real. And in that awakening, the dream dissolves, not into nothingness, but into a new beginning beyond all dreams. Universe as a thought. What if everything we know, everything we see, feel, and experience, the stars stretching across the night sky, the vast galaxies swirling in cosmic dance, the very atoms that compose our bodies, is not a physical thing, but a thought? Not matter or energy, but an idea. What if the universe itself is a fleeting notion, held within the mind of something far greater, something beyond comprehension, something that imagined us briefly and then forgot. This concept is both terrifying and fascinating. It challenges the very foundation of reality, existence, and consciousness. To think of the universe as a thought is to blur the line between reality and imagination. What defines what is real if everything, including ourselves, could be an ephemeral idea in a grander consciousness? This concept resonates with ancient philosophies and modern metaphysics alike. The idea of a cosmic mind, a universal consciousness, is found in traditions around the world, from the Vedantic notion of Brahman as ultimate reality, to the pantheistic beliefs that see divinity in all things. But imagining the entire cosmos as a passing thought takes this to a new level of existential intensity. Picture this: the universe as a dream within the mind of an immense, unknowable entity. Like a fleeting spark of creativity, it brings forth stars, planets, life, and consciousness. We, as individuals, are part of this thought, a momentary flicker of awareness in an unimaginably vast mental landscape. The implication is that our lives, our histories, and even the laws of physics are constructs of this greater mind, imagined into existence, sustained only as long as the thought persists. This leads to profound questions about permanence and meaning. If the universe is a thought, what happens when the thinker forgets? Does the cosmos dissolve into nothingness? Does time itself unravel? And does existence blink out like a candle in the wind? The impermanence of the universe, once a scientific possibility in theories like the Big Crunch or heat death, becomes a metaphysical certainty, a cosmic amnesia wiping the slate clean. We become echoes of a forgotten idea, ghostly imprints fading into oblivion. Such a concept might sound abstract or detached, but it also has a deeply personal resonance. Consider how fleeting human thoughts are, how an idea can flash through the mind, vivid and alive, only to vanish moments later, leaving no trace. Now, magnify that on a cosmic scale. Our entire reality, with its beauty and terror, might be a similar flicker, a moment of cosmic imagination, in a mind so vast it cannot remember all it conceives. Some modern scientists and philosophers entertain versions of this idea, especially within interpretations of quantum mechanics and consciousness studies. The observer effect suggests that reality is influenced or even created by observation. Some propose that consciousness is fundamental, not emergent, a primary substance from which the universe arises. If consciousness exists outside of space and time, could it be that the universe itself is a mental construct? This is not just philosophical speculation, but a serious inquiry at the edges of physics and metaphysics. Examples in everyday experience might help us grasp this better. Have you ever had a vivid dream that felt utterly real while it lasted? You saw places, people, even entire worlds that vanished upon waking. Dreams are temporary universes created within your mind, sustained only by your attention. What if our waking reality is a similar phenomenon, but on a scale so large it seems solid and eternal? Or think about imagination itself. When you imagine a story, a character, or a scene, it is real in your mind, complete with emotions and details. Now, imagine this act of creation multiplied infinitely, not by one human mind, but by a cosmic mind whose capacity dwarfs anything we can conceive. The universe as a thought is this kind of creation, both intimate and vast. The consequences of this perspective challenge our usual understanding of life's meaning. If the universe is a passing idea, does this diminish our significance, or does it enhance it? Because within this brief moment of cosmic imagination, we are the universe experiencing itself. We become not mere observers, but essential components of this thought, the conscious expression of a grand, mysterious mind. This also ties into questions about memory and forgetting on a cosmic scale. Just as individuals forget dreams upon waking, perhaps the cosmic mind forgets its own creations. This forgetting is not failure, but a necessary cycle, allowing for new thoughts, new universes, new possibilities. In this cycle, creation and destruction are intertwined, each universe a thought that lives and dies within the eternal mind. This idea may unsettle the scientific materialist, who sees reality as objective and independent. But it also opens doors to wonder and mystery, to seeing reality as fluid and alive, more like a work of art than a machine. The universe as a thought is a poetic truth as much as a philosophical one. a bridge between science, spirituality, and human imagination. So, when you look at the stars tonight, consider this. What if they are not just distant suns, but sparks in the mind of a cosmic dreamer? What if your own existence is a fleeting idea, a moment of awareness imagined into being? And what if, by embracing this mystery, you tap into something eternal, something beyond forgetting, a consciousness that dreamed the universe and still remembers you, even when the thought fades? This perspective invites humility and awe, a recognition that reality is far stranger and more profound than we usually imagine. It reminds us that the universe is not just out there, but within, in the interplay of mind and matter, thought and being. The cosmos as a thought is a reminder that all existence is fragile, beautiful, and transient, but also connected by the deep, mysterious mind that dreamed it all into existence. In the end, whether or not the universe is truly a thought may remain forever unknowable, but the very act of pondering it expands our understanding, shaking the foundations of certainty and inviting us into a grander, more poetic view of existence. It challenges us to see ourselves not as isolated fragments, but as expressions of a vast, creative consciousness, a moment in the infinite mind that imagined everything, including us. So hold this thought with wonder and mystery, knowing that in the fleeting idea of the universe, you are both dreamed and dreamer, watcher and watched, actor and audience, all at once. And in that paradox lies the profound beauty of being. The broadcast itself, you're not thinking, you're receiving. This unsettling truth challenges the very foundation of what you believe about your mind, your choices, and your identity. Imagine your consciousness as a radio receiver, tuned to a frequency that broadcasts a stream of thoughts, emotions, and impulses, not originating within you, but fed from somewhere distant, unseen, and powerful. The voice in your head, the feelings you react to, the decisions you believe you make, all are signals beamed to you, and you forgot how to change the channel. This is the essence of the broadcast itself, a concept that shakes free will to its core, the idea that what you consider your own inner dialogue might actually be an external transmission, a program you absorb and replay. But what if you were not the broadcaster but only the receiver? A channel for distant messages that shape your behavior, desires, and even your sense of self. Science has long shown how much of our brain activity happens beneath conscious awareness. Your brain constantly processes stimuli, filters memories, and generates emotions, all without your direct control. But the broadcast itself goes beyond neuroscience into the realm of existential paradox and metaphysical speculation. It asks, what if your conscious mind is not the origin of thought, but the recipient? What if your deepest feelings, your instincts, even your impulses to act, come from outside your personal boundary? Consider the way your emotions often arrive uninvited. You feel sadness wash over you without reason. A surge of anxiety grips you, though there is no immediate threat. An unexplained joy bubbles up from nowhere. These feelings feel like broadcasts, waves sent through the invisible ether of your mind. When you experience anger or jealousy that seems disproportionate or out of character, ask yourself, who is sending this signal? Examples from everyday life hint at this phenomenon. You might notice that certain moods appear after interacting with specific people, almost as if their emotional state is transmitted to you like a radio signal. Psychologists call this emotional contagion, but the broadcast itself expands the idea, suggesting not just emotional pickup, but a continuous inflow of signals shaping your internal landscape. Your choices, too, feel pre-wired by these broadcasts. You may feel drawn to buy a product you never wanted, choose a path you never considered, or say words that feel scripted. Advertisers know this well. Emotions and desires are transmitted through images, sounds, and narratives crafted to hijack your internal receiver. But the broadcast itself proposes something even more profound. Your sense of agency itself might be shaped by unseen transmitters. Philosophers have long debated the nature of free will, and the broadcast itself enters this debate with a radical twist. If you are a receiver tuned to external frequencies, then yourself is not truly independent. Your beliefs, values, and even personality traits might be imprinted from sources beyond your conscious mind. It's as if your soul is a radio antenna, endlessly scanning for signals that dictate your experience of reality. In the modern age, this concept finds echoes in technology and culture. Social media algorithms act as transmitters, broadcasting curated emotional content designed to elicit reactions, steering moods and opinions. The collective consciousness itself becomes a vast broadcast network, and each person is a receiver shaped by the global flow of information. Neurologically, brainwaves operate on frequencies measurable by EEG machines. Some speculative theories propose that consciousness itself might be a kind of bioelectrical signal, influenced by external electromagnetic fields. Though unproven, this notion supports the metaphor of the mind as a receiver, vulnerable to broadcasts that alter thought patterns and emotional states. Examples from altered states of consciousness reinforce this idea. Similarly, the phenomenon of hearing voices in psychosis could be understood as an extreme form of receiving unwanted broadcasts. Literature and art have long explored themes of the self being controlled or influenced by external forces. From Orwell's surveillance states to science fiction depicting mind control, the broadcasted self resonates deeply with cultural fears about loss of autonomy. Yet, it also invites us to reconsider the boundaries of identity. Perhaps the self is never truly separate, but always part of a greater, invisible network. The emotional impact of realizing you may not be the author of your thoughts is profound. It can provoke feelings of vulnerability, loss, or alienation. But it also opens a door to liberation, the possibility that by becoming aware of these broadcasts, you can learn to tune out harmful signals and reclaim agency. The question then becomes, how do you find your own frequency? How do you learn to change the channel on the radio waves of your mind? Mindfulness practices offer one answer. By cultivating awareness of your mental patterns, you begin to recognize the difference between internal broadcasts and true personal insight. Therapy and self-reflection work similarly, helping to disentangle externally imposed narratives from authentic desires. Imagine your mind as a radio with many stations, some chaotic noise, some soothing melodies, some harmful interference, and some signals of wisdom. Your task is to become the radio tuner, discerning which signals serve you and which distort your reality. The broadcast itself reminds us that awareness is the first step towards sovereignty. In conclusion, the broadcast itself is more than a metaphor. It is a lens through which to examine the fluid boundaries of consciousness. It challenges the assumption of an isolated, independent mind and suggests instead a dynamic interplay between external influence and internal reception. When you hear the voice in your head, consider this. Is it truly yours, or a broadcast you forgot how to change? Understanding this opens the door to deeper self-awareness, freedom, and the profound mystery of what it means to be human. The observer is you. You are the observer. Without your gaze, does the world truly exist? This is not just poetic musing. It's a profound question that touches the very fabric of reality itself. You exist only when observed. The world activates, unfolds, and comes alive the moment you look. But before your gaze lands, were you ever really here? Was this reality ever truly yours, or is it conjured into existence by the act of seeing? This idea shakes the foundation of everything we think we know about existence. Classical physics imagined a fixed, objective universe, solid, unchanging, and indifferent to observation. But modern science tells a different story. Quantum mechanics reveals a reality that depends on the observer. Particles exist in states of probability until they are observed, until the gaze collapses infinite possibilities into one actual event. Without observation, reality is a blur of potentials, neither here nor there. Consider Schrödinger's famous thought experiment, a cat trapped in a box, both alive and dead at once, until the box is opened, and observation forces one reality to emerge. This strange paradox is a mirror reflecting a deep truth. Your act of observation is not passive, it is creative. It breathes life into the world around you. What does this mean for you? It means that your presence is not a small part of a vast, indifferent universe, but a central, active force. You are a participant, a co-creator of reality. Without your conscious attention, the world remains unformed, suspended in a haze of possibilities. You bring it into focus, giving shape, color, and meaning. This also explains why reality feels so intimate and personal. The world isn't just out there, waiting to be discovered. It is activated by your awareness, your observation. The colors you see, the textures you feel, the very essence of your surroundings all depend on the observer. you. But here's the deeper mystery. If your observation creates reality, then what about your own existence? Were you ever truly here before you looked at yourself? Before you became aware? Did you exist outside the loop of observation? This challenges the notion of an independent, separate self. It suggests that existence and consciousness are intertwined in a cosmic feedback loop. You observe the world, and the world observes you back. This also resonates with ancient philosophical ideas. Many traditions teach that the self is not a fixed entity, but an unfolding awareness arising in the moment. The observer and the observed are not two separate things, but one seamless experience. The world is not something apart from you. It is an extension of your own consciousness. In daily life, this means your attention is powerful beyond measure. Where you place your gaze, what you choose to observe, shapes your reality. This is why mindfulness, presence, and focused awareness are transformative practices. By becoming aware of the observer within, you awaken to your role as the creator of your experience. It also means that everything you perceive is a reflection of your inner world. The external landscape is a mirror, revealing your beliefs, fears, and desires. The world activates when you look, but what you see is filtered through your own consciousness, colored by your unique perspective. Yet, this power can feel daunting. If your observation shapes reality, what responsibility do you carry? Every moment you observe, you participate in the ongoing creation of the universe. You are both witness and artist, sculpting reality with your presence. The question lingers. Without you, would this universe unfold? Would stars shine, rivers flow, or life breathe? Science can't definitively answer, but philosophy and experience suggest that reality is incomplete without conscious observation. The observer is not separate, but woven into the very fabric of existence. This understanding invites humility and wonder. To realize you are the observer is to recognize your deep connection to all that is. It dissolves boundaries between self and world, subject and object. You become aware that observing is not just looking, it is being. So next time you feel lost or small in the vastness of existence, remember this. The observer is you. Your gaze ignites the world. You activate reality simply by being aware. You are the key that unlocks the mystery of presence. And in that moment of awareness, you step beyond mere existence into the realm of conscious creation. You become not just a passenger, but a co-author in the unfolding story of the universe. This is the power and mystery of the observer. The truth that the world activates only when you look. And perhaps, in that gaze, you find that you were never separate from the universe, but an essential part of its eternal becoming. Life is playback footage. What if everything you experience right now isn't happening in real time? What if the moment you're living, the sights, sounds, feelings, and thoughts are not unfolding live, but are actually a playback, a recording made long ago? This idea shakes the very foundation of what you call reality. It suggests that your present is not a creation of now, but a replay of the past, streaming endlessly in your consciousness while you remain unaware that the moment was decided long before you arrived. Consider the way memory works. Your brain constantly reconstructs experiences from stored information, piecing together fragments of past moments into coherent scenes. But memory is fallible, malleable, a reconstruction rather than a perfect archive. What if all your perceptions are similarly reconstructed? The now you live in might be a projected replay, a simulation based on prior events that your mind interprets as immediate experience. In physics, the notion of time is more complex than our everyday intuition suggests. Theories like the block universe propose that past, present, and future all coexist in a four-dimensional space-time fabric. From this perspective, the flow of time is an illusion, a constructed narrative the brain uses to organize experience. The moment you believe to be now is just a point on a pre-existing timeline, a moment already etched into the fabric of reality, waiting to be observed. This means your consciousness might be more like a playback device than a live performer. You're tuning into a stream of events pre-recorded by the unfolding of the universe itself. The sense of agency and spontaneity you feel could be part of the illusion, a narrative crafted by your mind to make the recording feel alive. Think about dreams or déjà vu, moments when reality feels strangely familiar or disconnected from the flow of time. These glimpses hint at a layered experience of time, where past and present blur. They reveal how your perception can loop back on itself, replaying old footage while convincing you it's new. If life is playback footage, what does that say about free will? Are your choices pre-scripted? Is your sense of making decisions just part of the recording? These questions challenge our deepest assumptions about autonomy and identity. But even if the present is a replay, your experience of it is real. The emotions, thoughts, and sensations you feel are genuine, regardless of when or how the footage was made. This paradox invites profound reflection. You are both observer and participant in a vast cosmic cinema. Your life plays out like a film, scene by scene, but your consciousness is the projector shining the light, bringing the story into existence here and now. Without your awareness, the footage remains dormant, lifeless, until it meets your gaze. Understanding this can transform how you live. If the present is a playback, you might realize that resistance to what is happening is futile. The moment you see is already set. Acceptance becomes a path to peace. You stop struggling against the flow of the recording and instead immerse yourself fully in the experience. Yet, this view doesn't diminish meaning. On the contrary, it amplifies it. Your role as the conscious observer of the footage means you are co-creating the reality you live through attention and awareness. The way you watch the playback colors your experience, shifts your perception, and influences the resonance of the moment. Philosophers like Henri Bergson contrasted time as measured by clocks with lived time, the subjective flow of experience. Even if the objective timeline is fixed, your internal experience can vary dramatically. The playback you watch is not a static movie, but a living narrative shaped by your engagement. Science too nudges us toward this understanding. Neuroscience shows that the brain processes sensory information with a slight delay, integrating stimuli into a coherent experience after the fact. What you perceive as immediate is actually a constructed present, a brief playback from milliseconds before. Your conscious awareness lags behind reality, stitching together the pieces into seamless now. Quantum physics offers even more radical ideas about time and observation. The act of observing a system affects its state, collapsing probabilities into concrete outcomes. This suggests that consciousness plays an active role in bringing moments into existence, perhaps by playing back the pre-recorded possibilities in a particular way. If life is playback footage, it invites humility and wonder. The vast mystery of existence becomes a theater where you are both actor and audience, watching scenes unfold that are written, directed, and performed by a reality beyond your grasp. You are the witness to a cosmic recording that plays endlessly, with each viewing revealing new layers of meaning. This perspective challenges you to rethink control, causality, and self. If the present is a replay, then your experience is a precious opportunity to engage deeply with the script, to find nuance and beauty in the details of each moment. It encourages presence, not as live spontaneity, but as mindful witnessing of what already is. So, next time you feel rushed or overwhelmed by the unfolding of life, remember, you are watching a playback. The scene was set, the lines delivered, but your attention and awareness breathe life into the footage. In that act, you find freedom, not from changing the script, but from being fully present to the story as it plays. In this realization lies profound power. Even if the moment is recorded, how you watch it matters. Your perception can transform the footage from static replay into a dynamic, alive experience. The playback is not just repetition, it's revelation, invitation, and awakening. You are both the screen and the projector, the footage and the viewer, the past unfolding anew in the theater of your mind. And in this eternal playback, every moment is a chance to see deeper, feel fuller, and be more awake than before. Emotion is engineered. Your feelings are not truly yours. They are inputs, carefully engineered responses to hidden stimuli woven seamlessly into the fabric of your environment. Every emotional surge, every sudden wave of joy, fear, or sadness is not merely a spontaneous reaction. It is the result of intricate chemical signals and invisible triggers designed to influence your inner world. From the moment you wake to the second you close your eyes, unseen forces orchestrate your emotional landscape, guiding your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors without your conscious awareness. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is a reality grounded in biology and neuroscience. Our emotions are chemical dances within the brain, choreographed by neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and cortisol. These molecules do not simply appear out of nowhere. They are released in response to specific environmental cues, sounds, sights, scents, even social interactions that activate neural pathways in predictable ways. For example, the soft glow of warm light can induce calm, while a sudden loud noise can trigger a stress response. But beyond these natural triggers, many emotional states are shaped by intentional manipulations embedded in our surroundings. Consider the architecture of a shopping mall: bright lights, pleasant scents, curated music, all carefully designed to stimulate positive feelings, encouraging you to linger and spend more. Advertisers exploit color psychology and auditory cues to evoke excitement or nostalgia, subtly pushing you toward a desired reaction. On social media, algorithms analyze your behavior to serve content that maximizes engagement by playing on your emotional vulnerabilities, creating feedback loops of dopamine-driven reward and craving. Even seemingly random events can be engineered to manipulate emotion. Ambient scents in stores or workplaces can lower anxiety or boost productivity. The rhythm of background music influences your pace and mood. Urban planners use green spaces and visual aesthetics to foster feelings of safety or community. These are not accidents. They are deliberate strategies to shape your emotional reality. At a deeper level, this engineering taps into primal survival circuits in the brain. Fear triggers fight or flight responses. Happiness reinforces behaviors beneficial for survival. By hijacking these ancient pathways, environmental inputs gain outsized influence over your feelings. Your brain, evolved to respond to natural stimuli, is now navigating a landscape rife with artificial emotional triggers, many crafted to benefit external interests. But this engineering does not only come from external sources. Your own mind can become a factory of emotional triggers, as memories, beliefs, and conditioned responses automatically ignite feelings without conscious intent. Trauma, social conditioning, and habitual thought patterns create internal environments rich with emotional cues, shaping how you perceive and react to the world. Recognizing that emotions are engineered inputs opens a pathway to reclaiming agency. Awareness allows you to observe feelings without immediate reaction, breaking automatic cycles. Mindfulness and reflection can disrupt the seamless flow of chemical manipulation, enabling you to distinguish genuine emotional responses from those induced by external triggers. This understanding also calls for critical scrutiny of the environments you inhabit. What unseen forces are shaping your mood? Who benefits when your emotional state is heightened or subdued? By questioning these dynamics, you gain the power to curate your surroundings, choosing inputs that nurture authentic emotional experiences rather than manufactured ones. In essence, your emotional life is not an isolated, spontaneous outburst from within, but a complex interplay between your biology and the designed inputs of your environment. The chemicals coursing through your brain are responses to invisible cues embedded everywhere, from media and technology to social settings and physical spaces. They shape your feelings with precision, often without your awareness. Yet, this is not a cause for despair, but a call to vigilance. By understanding the engineered nature of emotion, you can begin to decode the invisible architecture influencing your inner world. You can reclaim your feelings, transform your emotional responses, and build resilience against manipulative triggers. Your emotions are not just yours, they are signals from a vast network of inputs. To master them is to navigate this network consciously, to break free from invisible control, and to awaken to the authentic self beneath the chemical storm. This is the frontier of emotional liberation, the realization that feelings are engineered, but the power to choose how you respond lies within you. Memories are installed, your childhood, a tapestry woven not from your own threads, but from fragments implanted deep within your mind. What if the memories you cling to, those vivid moments of joy, fear, discovery, and wonder, are not truly yours? What if they are implanted files, carefully constructed illusions, that create the seamless narrative you call your life? This unsettling idea shakes the foundation of personal identity, questioning whether our sense of continuity and selfhood is real or merely a sophisticated fabrication. Consider how memory works. Our brains are not perfect recorders, but storytellers, reconstructing experiences each time we recall them. Memories are malleable, easily altered by suggestion, trauma, or time. Now, imagine this plasticity taken further, where memories are not just modified, but installed, like software updates. This concept finds echoes in neurological studies where false memories are implanted, and in dissociative disorders where fragmented identities carry conflicting recollections. The notion that someone else authored your childhood taps into deep fears about autonomy and authenticity. If your earliest experiences are scripts handed down, stitched from external sources, then who is the true you? The self becomes a collage, a patchwork quilt of borrowed memories, narratives imposed from outside, giving the illusion of an unbroken story but hiding fractured origins beneath. Philosophers and neuroscientists have long debated what constitutes the self. Is it continuous memory? Is it consciousness? If memory can be implanted, then the self becomes vulnerable, a ghost shaped by artificial traces. The boundary between genuine experience and constructed narrative blurs, leaving us adrift in questions about identity's true nature. This idea also resonates with advances in technology. Imagine a future where memories could be uploaded, shared, or erased. If childhood memories could be implanted, would you still be yourself? What if the memories that define you are products of programming, narrative design, or deliberate manipulation? On a psychological level, many people feel their past is alien, disjointed, or even fabricated. Flashbacks, false recollections, and repressed traumas distort the continuity we desire. We patch these gaps with stories told by family, culture, and society. In that sense, our memories are always partly authored by others, making identity a collective construction rather than a solitary truth. Ultimately, the idea that memories are installed challenges us to rethink what it means to be ourselves. It forces us to confront the fragility of our personal histories and the possibility that the continuity we cherish is a carefully crafted illusion, a narrative built by unseen hands to hold the self together. Yet, even if our memories are stitched from foreign fabric, the experience of living through them, of feeling, choosing, and creating in the present moment remains ours. The self may be a complex mosaic, assembled from many parts, but it is still vibrant, still real in its unfolding. In this paradox lies the profound mystery of identity. Memories may be installed, but consciousness lives in the now, endlessly shaping who we become beyond any script, beyond any implanted file. Coincidence is architecture. You ever notice how life sometimes feels like a maze of uncanny coincidences? A chance encounter, a sudden déjà vu, a meaningful synchronicity that stops you cold. Like the universe is nudging you, whispering secrets in a language only you can hear. But what if these moments aren't random at all? What if they're carefully placed breadcrumbs, deliberately arranged by some unseen architect, a master builder of your reality, reminding you that your world is not chaos, it's construction? This idea, that coincidence is architecture, challenges everything you think about chance. In everyday life, we chalk up coincidence to pure randomness, dismissing them as flukes or statistical quirks. Yet, the more you experience these moments, the more they feel like a deliberate design. Like a cosmic hand has left markers along your path, pointing to something bigger, something crafted. Consider déjà vu, that strange fleeting sensation that you've lived a moment before. It feels like a glitch, a repeat of a scene already played out. Synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to defy probability, where two unrelated events align perfectly, creating a powerful emotional charge. They aren't just chance, they are signals, messages encoded in the architecture of your existence. Many spiritual traditions speak of a grand design. Whether you call it fate, destiny, or divine will, the idea is the same. Life is not haphazard, but woven with intention. The architect, whatever form that takes, is the invisible force that places each coincidence like a brick in the wall of your journey. Every seemingly random event fits into the pattern of your life's construction. Modern physics even flirts with this idea. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles, separated by vast distances, can be linked instantaneously. The universe may be more interconnected than we can comprehend. This deep connection means coincidences could be the visible threads of an underlying fabric binding reality together. Psychologically, humans are pattern seekers. We crave meaning and coherence in chaos. But what if some coincidences are more than human pattern making? What if they are actual guideposts, breadcrumbs left by the architect, to help you navigate your path? Think about those moments when a random conversation leads to a life-changing opportunity, or the time you think of someone and they call you seconds later. The rational mind might explain these away, but your intuition tells a different story. That these are signs, intentional placements in the architecture of your fate. The emotional power of recognizing coincidence as architecture is profound. It turns confusion into clarity, fear into trust. It reminds you that your life's maze has a blueprint, even when the walls feel confining. Every twist, every unexpected turn is a part of a master plan designed to lead you where you need to go. Artists, writers, and mystics have long explored this concept. The idea that every coincidence is a thread in a grand tapestry. That reality is not random pixels thrown onto a screen, but pixels arranged by a pixel artist with purpose and vision. You too are a part of this masterpiece, a co-creator walking along a path illuminated by carefully placed signs. Ultimately, understanding that coincidence is architecture changes your relationship with life. You begin to see the invisible scaffolding holding your reality together. You learn to look for the breadcrumbs, to follow the signs, and to trust the builder who constructed this intricate maze. And in that trust, you find peace, purpose, and the profound wonder of being part of a designed universe. Time is frozen =. What if everything you believe about time is a lie? What if the universe isn't moving forward at all? That time itself is frozen, locked in place, and only you are moving within it. Imagine reality as a vast, still canvas, unchanging and eternal. The sensation of motion, the flow of seconds and minutes, is nothing more than a trick your mind plays on you, a vivid illusion to keep you anchored in an experience that feels real but is fundamentally false. This idea shatters the familiar. We live immersed in time's current, endlessly swept forward by its unstoppable flow. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment seems to pass, to fade into the past. But what if that passage is just a story your brain tells itself? A simulation? A dream? The universe might be frozen, a perfect snapshot held forever, while you move inside it, creating the illusion of time moving onward. Philosophers and physicists have wrestled with the nature of time for centuries. Einstein's theory of relativity taught us that time is not absolute but relative, woven into the fabric of space itself. Yet, even that is just part of a deeper mystery. Some interpretations of quantum physics and cosmology suggest that time as we know it could be emergent, something born from our perception rather than an external, universal flow. Consider this. When you watch a movie, the film reel is static, a series of still images. Yet, when played in sequence, the images blend into the illusion of movement. What if your entire existence is like that reel, each frame of the universe frozen in perfect clarity, with your consciousness flipping through frames so rapidly you perceive flow, motion, and change? If time is frozen, then what moves? You do. Your mind creates a narrative of progression, of cause and effect, threading moments together into a story of life. This narrative is so convincing that you believe in past and future, cause and consequence, growth and decay. But all of this may be the mind's way of making sense of a static reality. This also helps explain why moments of intense presence feel like time stops altogether. When you're deeply absorbed, fully in the now, time seems to dissolve. That timelessness isn't a breakdown of reality, but a glimpse behind the veil, a direct experience of the universe's frozen nature, unmediated by the mind's usual stories. Our brains are hardwired to interpret sensory data as continuous motion. Neurons fire in sequences that construct the illusion of flow. But beneath this, at the fundamental level, reality may be unchanging, eternal, locked in an endless present. You are a moving observer in a still universe. This raises profound questions about free will and existence. If the universe is frozen, is your movement predetermined? Or does your consciousness travel freely across this frozen landscape, choosing which frames to inhabit? The mind's ability to navigate this eternal moment is the source of experience, memory, and identity. The sensation of time's passage may be a protective mechanism, a way to structure experience so you can function, learn, and survive. Yet the truth beneath this veil might be far stranger. The universe does not age, does not change. Instead, you are the agent of motion, the storyteller weaving meaning and change into an unchanging backdrop. Meditations on this concept invite a radical rethinking of life. If time is frozen, then every moment exists now, past and future coexisting in a timeless tapestry. Your memories, hopes, and dreams are not shadows of what was or might be, but threads woven into a single eternal fabric. In this light, the future is not a distant unknown, but a place you have yet to step into. The past is not gone, but always present, waiting in this frozen moment. You move through this cosmic stillness, carving meaning with your mind's gaze. The idea that time is frozen challenges everything you know about progression and destiny. It suggests that change is not a flow, but a shift in perspective. Your consciousness moving within a vast, motionless whole. This also offers freedom. If the universe is locked in place, then your perception shapes your experience. By shifting your awareness, you can transcend the illusion of linear time, entering a state where all moments coexist, and the boundaries between past, present, and future dissolve. Such a realization can be both unsettling and liberating. It breaks the chains of temporal anxiety, fear of loss, regret, or uncertainty. It invites you to embrace the eternal now, to live fully in the stillness where all things exist simultaneously. So, next time you feel time slipping away, remember, perhaps it is not time that moves, but you who moves within a frozen universe. The flow you experience is your mind's creation, a beautiful illusion that allows you to dance across the infinite stillness. And in that dance lies the secret. The universe is frozen, but you are alive, moving, aware, a radiant spark in the timeless dark, a witness to eternity caught in motion. You've lived this already. What if everything you're doing right now, the choices you make, the conversations you have, the feelings you experience, you've done before, not just once, but maybe infinitely many times? What feels like new is actually an echo, a replay of a pattern your soul knows all too well. You move through the motions of life like a traveler circling the same landscape again and again, each iteration wearing on your spirit, even if your conscious mind remembers none of it. This is the haunting idea of eternal recurrence, the notion that life is a cycle, repeating endlessly in time or across dimensions. Your present actions are not unique sparks of creation, but chapters in an infinite loop, spun out in variations, yet fundamentally the same. You live this story again and again, each time unaware, your memory wiped clean, your soul quietly burdened by repetition. Think of the moments when déjà vu grips you, when you feel a strange familiarity, as if you've walked this path before, spoken these words, felt this exact emotion. These flickers of recognition hint at a deeper truth beneath surface experience, a soul fatigued from living through the same patterns repeatedly, even though the conscious mind remains oblivious. Our modern culture often denies this possibility because it threatens the comforting narrative of progress, novelty, and free will. But the cyclical nature of many natural phenomena, from the changing seasons to the rise and fall of civilizations, suggests that repetition is woven into the fabric of existence. Perhaps your life, your personal journey, is no exception. If you've lived this before, what does that mean for your choices now? Are you trapped in an endless loop, doomed to repeat mistakes and joys without escape? Or is there a way to break free, to awaken from the cycle and step into something new? The answer lies in awareness. The soul, weary from repetition, carries subtle imprints, patterns, tendencies, emotional wounds that surface as recurring challenges. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward liberation. When you see the loop, you can begin to change how you engage with it. Instead of unconsciously reenacting the past, you can consciously rewrite your story. Philosophers from Nietzsche to modern thinkers have grappled with eternal recurrence as both a curse and a call to embrace life fully. To live as if you must relive every moment infinitely demands profound courage and acceptance. It challenges you to ask, if this moment were to repeat forever, how would you live it differently? Would you choose love over fear? Compassion over resentment? Freedom over attachment? This perspective can be deeply freeing. It dissolves the illusion of time as linear progress and invites you into the present as the point of transformation. Each repetition is an opportunity, not a sentence, but a chance to break the pattern, to awaken from the cycle of repetition and exhaustion. Spiritual traditions echo this insight. Many teach that souls reincarnate through multiple lifetimes, carrying unresolved lessons and karmic debts. The exhaustion you feel may be the residue of countless cycles lived without conscious choice or healing. Yet, within this view lies hope. Awareness is the key that unlocks the cycle, allowing the soul to transcend repetition and find peace. Psychology supports this too. Trauma, unresolved grief, and habitual thought patterns can trap individuals in cycles of suffering that feel eternal. Healing these wounds requires bringing unconscious patterns into light, making the invisible visible, and choosing new responses. In this way, psychological healing is a microcosm of breaking the cycle of repeated lifetimes. You are not alone in this weariness. Many souls carry the burden of repetition silently, feeling the weight without knowing why. But even in the deepest exhaustion, the possibility of awakening remains. The moment you recognize you've lived this before, you gain power over the cycle. This power does not come from control over fate, but from surrender to awareness. It comes from choosing presence over autopilot, consciousness over forgetfulness, acceptance over resistance. By shining light on the patterns that exhaust you, you begin to dissolve them. Imagine life not as a treadmill you cannot leave, but as a spiral staircase. Each turn revisiting familiar ground, but from a higher vantage point. Each repetition brings new insight, new growth, new freedom. The soul is not doomed to endless sameness, but invited to evolve through recurrence. So, when fatigue overwhelms you, when frustration or despair rises, remember, these feelings may be echoes of cycles you've lived countless times, but you also hold within you the seed of awakening. The tired soul can find rest not in escape, but in conscious presence, in seeing the loop clearly and stepping beyond it. You've lived this already, and that knowledge, as heavy as it may feel, is also a gift, a call to wake up, to break the pattern, to reclaim your soul's freedom. Each moment is an invitation to live differently, to heal deeper, and to awaken fully. In embracing this truth, you become both the traveler and the guide, the soul that has wandered through endless cycles and the light that leads out of the maze. The exhaustion fades, replaced by clarity. The repetition softens, giving way to renewal. You are more than the cycles you've lived. You are the awareness that watches them unfold, the presence that transcends time's loops. And in that presence lies your true, eternal freedom. Reality isn't from Earth. Reality isn't from Earth. The rules that govern existence, the logic that underpins the universe, the very constraints we perceive, they feel strange, alien, even wrong because, in a profound sense, they weren't meant for us. This world, this reality, is not our native realm. It is a place where the familiar bends, where the laws of physics and causality twist into patterns that defy intuitive understanding, and where the fabric of existence itself whispers of origins far beyond our comprehension. From the moment we open our eyes, we encounter a universe structured by constants and principles that appear fixed, yet they bear the marks of a design or influence alien to human nature. Gravity pulls, time flows, matter behaves in ways that, while consistent, often feel counterintuitive. Why do particles exist in probabilistic clouds rather than definitive paths? Why does time move forward relentlessly, yet on the quantum scale, cause and effect blur? These peculiarities suggest a reality layered and constructed, not born from the soil of Earth or the instincts of humanity, but from a domain beyond our native experience. This idea echoes through the ages in mythology and philosophy. Many ancient traditions spoke of the world as a place of exile, a realm fallen from a higher, purer state. Humanity in these narratives is a traveler or exile, bound to a land of illusion and constraint, longing for a return to an origin lost. The strange laws of reality, its paradoxes, its inexplicable phenomena, are reminders of this estrangement. Science too grapples with this alien nature. The constants that make life possible are finely tuned in ways that seem improbable, hinting at a deeper structure or purpose beyond random chance. Our understanding of space-time, dark matter, and the multiverse paints a picture of a cosmos that extends far beyond our sensory reach. Vast, mysterious, and governed by rules that may not align with human intuition. Everyday experience reveals the friction between our evolved biology and this strange reality. Our brains crave patterns, certainty, and causality, yet quantum uncertainty, chaos theory, and cosmic scale forces mock these desires. The world we live in operates on logics that transcend our natural instincts, rules shaped in a realm unfamiliar, imposed upon us as we navigate a foreign landscape. This isn't to suggest we are aliens or visitors in the conventional sense, but that our conscious selves are tuned to a different home frequency, a dimension or realm where different laws apply. Earth and the reality we perceive are like a stage set constructed with alien tools. Beautiful, perplexing, but ultimately not designed for the ease of human comprehension. Recognizing that reality is not from Earth invites a radical shift in perspective. Instead of demanding that the world conform to our expectations, we begin to accept its inherent otherness. This acceptance opens the door to humility, curiosity, and the pursuit of knowledge not as conquest, but as exploration of a realm not originally ours. In this light, every anomaly, every paradox, every moment of existential dissonance becomes a clue, a signal from the deeper truth that the world we inhabit is a complex construct. It is a frontier where the native human mind must adapt, evolve, and learn to navigate with new tools, new philosophies, and new senses. To live in a reality that isn't from Earth is to live with the tension of displacement, a constant negotiation between familiarity and alienness. It is a journey of discovery, of wrestling with the foreign logic of existence, and ultimately, of finding meaning in a realm that challenges the very core of who we think we are. This realization is not despair, but empowerment. By acknowledging the alien nature of reality, we can begin to unlock its secrets, transcend its constraints, and perhaps glimpse the native realm where consciousness truly belongs. Until then, we stand as explorers on an unfamiliar shore, learning the strange rules of a world that wasn't meant for us, but where, nonetheless, we must make our home. Love is a code. That feeling you call love, it pulses through your veins like a secret code, an activation sequence etched deep within your biology and culture. Love is not just a spontaneous emotion, but a powerful mechanism designed to bind you, to connect you to people, to ideas, even to governments. It is the invisible thread that weaves individuals into families, communities, and nations, ensuring cooperation, loyalty, and order. But beneath its warmth lies a complex system of triggers and responses, a code that, once unlocked, changes everything. From the moment we are born, our brains and bodies are wired to seek connection. Oxytocin floods our system, dopamine lights up our reward centers, and neural pathways form patterns that define attachment. This biochemical choreography is love's secret language, a code that activates when certain signals are received: a smile, a touch, a shared experience. It's evolutionary design in action. Love is survival, a social glue holding us together in a dangerous world. But love's code extends beyond biology. It is written into stories, rituals, and symbols passed down through generations. Nations craft patriotic love with anthems and flags, binding citizens with shared identity and purpose. Religions encode divine love to inspire devotion and obedience. Even political movements tap into love's code, invoking unity and sacrifice for causes larger than the self. Consider how love can bind people to ideas that may contradict their self-interest, yet the activation sequence remains powerful. The feeling compels loyalty, fuels passion, and sometimes blinds judgment. It transforms individuals into collective actors, willing to sacrifice for abstract ideals or leaders. Love, in this sense, is both a gift and a tool, a force that can heal or manipulate. Examples abound: families forged by unconditional love, communities united by shared belief, or citizens inspired by national pride. Each is a different pattern in the same code, activation sequences tailored to connect and control. Even romantic love follows this pattern, triggering deep attachment that encourages cooperation and mutual survival. Yet, love's code can be hacked or corrupted. When the sequence is manipulated through propaganda, emotional coercion, or social conditioning, love becomes a weapon. It can trap, bind, or blind, leading to loyalty that demands sacrifice and silenced dissent. Understanding love as a code reveals its dual nature, a source of profound connection and a mechanism of influence. But here is the paradox. While love is coded and triggered, it is also experienced as deeply personal and unique. Each activation is colored by individual history, memory, and choice. The code may initiate the sequence, but the unfolding is yours. Love's power comes from this interplay between biology, culture, and conscious experience. Recognizing love as a code does not diminish its beauty or importance. Instead, It deepens our understanding of how we connect and why. It invites us to become aware of the sequences that bind us and to choose which activations serve our true selves and which serve external agendas. So, the next time you feel love's rush, whether for a person, an idea, or a cause, remember the hidden code behind that feeling. It is an activation sequence, powerful and precise, designed to create bonds that shape your world. Knowing the code empowers you to navigate love's depths with clarity, to honor its gifts while guarding your freedom. Love is code, and you hold the key. Your body is a suit. You're wearing a biological machine, a complex, intricate suit crafted over millions of years to keep you alive in this world. Your body is a marvel of evolution, designed to breathe, move, heal, and endure the challenges of life on Earth. Yet, beneath this flesh and bone, beneath the beating heart and firing neurons, there lies a being much older, and from somewhere else entirely. This body you inhabit is not who you truly are. It's a vessel, a suit tailored to the environment of this planet, a survival apparatus. Every cell, every organ is tuned to respond to the rhythms of nature, the seasons, the food, the threats. Your skin shields you from harm, your muscles propel you forward, your senses scan the world for danger or opportunity. But this biological suit is a shell, a temporary costume worn by a consciousness far beyond these physical confines. Think about how much of your body's functions happen automatically. Your heart pumps without command, your lungs draw air without thought. Digestion, immune responses, hormonal surges, these intricate systems operate silently beneath your awareness. They are ancient mechanisms honed for survival, programmed by DNA stretching back through time. Yet, you are more than this machinery. You are the wearer of this suit, the mind that experiences beyond the physical. This being inside you carries memories not just of your personal past, but echoes of a time long before your birth. Some call it the soul, others call it consciousness or spirit. Scientific studies into cellular memory hint at how our bodies store fragments of history, but consciousness remains a profound mystery. Where does it come from? Why is it here? Why does it feel separate from the biological machine it inhabits? Imagine a traveler donning a protective suit to explore a foreign planet. The suit allows survival in a hostile environment, but is not the traveler's true form. Similarly, your body shields and sustains you, but the essence inside is timeless, ancient, and from somewhere beyond this world. Throughout history, many cultures have understood this truth intuitively. Shamans, mystics, and philosophers have spoken of the body as a vehicle, a temporary garment for the soul's journey. The suit may wear out, falter, and decay, but the wearer persists, shifting, evolving, transcending. This perspective radically changes how you see yourself. Instead of identifying fully with the body, you begin to recognize it as a tool, a remarkable but limited interface between your inner being and the physical world. This realization can deepen your appreciation for your body's fragility and strength, and for the enduring mystery of the self. Your senses, emotions, and thoughts flow through this suit, but they do not define the wearer. The biological machine is shaped by genetics and environment, but the being inside is shaped by experience, intention, and perhaps a cosmic origin. The paradox is profound. You are both flesh and spirit, machine and mystery. Your body evolved to survive here, but your inner self is ancient and foreign to this planet. This duality creates tension, a longing for connection, and a search for meaning beyond mere survival. Modern science grapples with this duality. Neuroscience maps the brain's functions, but struggles to explain consciousness itself. Quantum physics hints at realities beyond the physical, and philosophies explore the nature of existence as more than matter. Understanding your body as a suit invites you to care for it, with respect and gratitude, while seeking the deeper self that animates it. It encourages practices that align body and spirit, meditation, movement, breathwork, that bridge the gap between the machine and the being inside. Ultimately, your body is a suit, an extraordinary tool built by evolution to navigate the physical world. But the being inside you is older than the stars, stranger than the flesh, and from somewhere beyond this earthly realm. Recognizing this invites a profound awakening to who you truly are, a timeless traveler wearing a temporary suit, journeying through the vast mystery of existence. Fog of remembering. Before you took your first breath, before the world shaped your senses, there were truths you already knew. These were not lessons learned, but memories held deep within you, real truths that existed before language, before identity, before life as you understand it. But then the fog came, a thick, impenetrable mist that crept over your mind and erased those memories before you could ever speak them aloud. And imagine for a moment that before birth, your consciousness existed in a vast, boundless realm, a place of pure knowing, unfiltered by time or space. In that realm, you carried knowledge of your origin, your purpose, and the nature of reality itself. You held secrets not learned, but remembered, wisdom embedded in the fabric of your being. Yet as your soul descended into the physical body, this fog of forgetting enveloped you, wiping clean the slate so you could start anew, but at a cost. This fog is not just metaphor. It is a profound psychological and spiritual phenomenon that shapes human experience. We are born with an innate sense of loss, a vague, haunting feeling that we have forgotten something essential, a nostalgia not for a place but for a time before time, a knowing before knowing. It lingers beneath conscious awareness, coloring our dreams, our longings, and the strange moments when insight breaks through the veil. Science offers glimpses into this mystery. Studies of early childhood memory reveal that most people retain almost no conscious memories before the age of 3. Yet, neuroscientists also uncover evidence of implicit memory, information and emotional knowledge stored without conscious recall. Could this hidden memory be a shadow of the truths lost in the fog? Philosophers and mystics have long suggested that birth is a form of amnesia, a necessary forgetting so that life can unfold with mystery and freedom. The fog protects us from overwhelming knowledge, allowing us to grow, to learn, to experience without the burden of omniscience. But this forgetting is also a loss, a barrier between who we are now and who we once were. The fog clouds our connection to that deeper self, to the wisdom carried before life's distractions took hold. It blurs the boundaries between memory and imagination, truth and illusion. Yet sometimes the fog thins. During moments of deep meditation, dreams, or sudden flashes of intuition. In those moments, glimpses of forgotten truths pierce the veil, reminding us of a time when memory was clear and knowledge was whole. This phenomenon can explain the universal yearning for meaning, the spiritual search for origins and purpose. It is the soul reaching through the fog, seeking to reclaim what was lost. Every question, every moment of wonder or awe is a whisper from that forgotten place, a fragment of the ancient memory trying to surface. The fog also shapes our relationships. We recognize echoes of this lost knowing in the profound connections that defy explanation, the inexplicable sense of familiarity with some people or places. These are traces of pre-birth bonds, memory flickering beneath the fog's haze. But why does the fog erase these memories? Some say it is mercy, a shield against the overwhelming reality of infinite knowledge. Others believe it is a necessary part of the soul's journey, allowing the unfolding of experience, growth, and transformation. Without the fog, life might be a burden rather than a gift, a replay of what is already known instead of an adventure into the unknown. Yet the fog is not impenetrable. Through practices like mindfulness, introspection, and spiritual discipline, many report reclaiming fragments of this primordial knowledge. The fog lifts in moments of clarity, revealing that the truths were never truly lost, but hidden beneath layers of forgetting and distraction. This reclaiming is not just nostalgia, but awakening, a rediscovery of the self beyond the limitations of time, identity, and memory. It is the soul remembering its own vastness, the timeless wisdom encoded in the very fabric of being. In this light, the fog of remembering is both a veil and a gateway. It obscures what once was, but invites the seeker to look deeper, to pierce the mist with awareness, and to rediscover the truths that live beneath the surface. So, when you feel a deep yearning, a haunting sense of something forgotten, know that it is the fog calling you home. It is the silent invitation to remember who you were before words, before birth, before the world told you who to be. And in that remembering lies the power to awaken, to reclaim the lost knowledge, to see beyond illusion, and to step fully into the truth that has always been waiting just beyond the fog. The ghost of yourself. Have you ever felt haunted? Not by someone else, but by yourself. Not by a ghost in the traditional sense, but by fragments of your own past decisions and actions left unfinished, unresolved, and wandering somewhere beyond your waking awareness. These pieces are echoes of yourself. Ghosts born from choices made, paths not taken, words left unsaid. They drift in the shadowy corners of your mind and pull at you in dreams, seeking closure, yearning for completion. Every decision you make carves a path forward, but sometimes the echoes of those decisions linger behind, perhaps a promise unkept, a conversation left hanging, a regret buried deep. These are not just memories, but living fragments of yourself, existing in liminal spaces between waking and dreaming, conscious and unconscious. They are unfinished stories that tug at your attention in subtle ways, manifesting as restlessness, inexplicable sadness, or sudden vivid dreams. Imagine your life as a vast, intricate web. Each strand represents a choice, a moment, a possibility. When a thread remains loose, frayed, or broken, it doesn't simply disappear. Instead, it vibrates quietly in the background, sending ripples through your psyche. These vibrations are the ghosts of yourself, pieces waiting for you to acknowledge them, to return and resolve what was left incomplete. Dreams are often the stage where these ghosts appear most vividly. In dreams, the boundaries between past and present, reality and imagination, blur. You may see people from your past, places you thought you left behind, or scenarios that replay unresolved conflicts. These dream ghosts are not random, but meaningful messengers, inviting you to engage with your hidden self and bring healing to what lingers. Psychology calls this the unfinished business, the emotional residue of experiences not fully processed. Unresolved emotions can trap energy, manifesting in anxiety, depression, or patterns of self-sabotage. The ghosts of your past become living influences in your present, shaping your behavior and perceptions in ways you might not understand. But these ghosts are not your enemies. They are parts of your wholeness calling for integration. By facing them, by listening deeply to what they represent, you reclaim lost pieces of yourself. You transform haunting into healing, fragmentation into unity. The act of resolving unfinished business is a journey of self-reclamation, a brave return to the echoes of your own soul. Many spiritual traditions recognize these shadows. They speak of ancestral memories, karmic debts, and soul fragments scattered across lifetimes. The ghost you feel is not just about this life, but maybe the residue of cycles long past, threads weaving through the tapestry of your existence. Healing these echoes transcends time, reaching into the deepest layers of being. In practical terms, paying attention to these ghostly echoes means embracing vulnerability. It means sitting with discomfort rather than fleeing it. It requires honesty with yourself, acknowledging mistakes, forgiving yourself and others, and making amends where possible. This courageous engagement softens the grip of the past and opens space for renewal. Art, writing, and creative expression can be powerful tools in this process. They allow the ghosts to speak in metaphor, symbol, and story, giving voice to what words alone cannot contain. Through creativity, you dialogue with your fragmented self and bring coherence to the scattered pieces. Therapy and mindful practices also guide you into this inner landscape. Mindfulness cultivates presence with what arises without judgment, allowing the ghosts to emerge safely. Therapeutic work helps uncover patterns, memories, and emotions that have long dwelled in shadow, gently guiding them toward resolution. The ghost of yourself is a paradox, a haunting and a healing, a burden and a blessing. It reminds you that you are more than the surface identity you carry. Beneath the roles and masks lies a complex, multifaceted self, yearning for wholeness. When you begin to respond to these echoes, the pull they exert diminishes. Dreams become clearer, moods stabilize, and a profound sense of peace emerges. You integrate fragmented parts into a cohesive self, no longer chased by ghosts, but accompanied by the full presence of who you are. This process is lifelong. Life will always leave traces. New decisions, experiences, and challenges will create new echoes. But with awareness and compassion, each ghost becomes an opportunity, a doorway to deeper understanding and growth. So when you feel that quiet tug in the night, the restless stirring in your heart, remember, it is the ghost of yourself calling you home. Not to fear, but to embrace. Not to run, but to listen. In answering this call, you reclaim your story, heal your wounds, and step into the fullness of your being. You are both the haunted and the healer, the lost fragment and the whole soul, the ghost and the light. And in this dance lies the profound mystery and beauty of what it means to be human. Yesterday wasn't real. Yesterday wasn't real. Not in the way you remember it, or think you remember it. It wasn't just a bad memory, a blurred or distorted fragment of experience. That entire day, every moment you believe you lived, every conversation, every sensation, every breath, it didn't exist. It was inserted, fabricated, a patch update to your perceived continuity, seamlessly woven into your mind's narrative so flawlessly that it fools even your deepest sense of reality. This unsettling idea challenges the very foundation of how we understand time, memory, and identity. We trust our memories as the building blocks of our personal histories, the invisible thread stitching together who we are. But what if that thread was woven not by your conscious experience, but by an external force rewriting the fabric of your mind, editing reality itself as though it were a digital timeline? Memory is far from a perfect archive. Neuroscience reveals it as a reconstructive process, constantly edited, reshaped, and sometimes overwritten. Every time you recall a memory, you rebuild it anew, influenced by current emotions, beliefs, and external cues. This plasticity makes memory susceptible to suggestion, manipulation, and error. Now, imagine that not only your memories, but your actual experience of a whole day could be fabricated, implanted into your consciousness as if it had really happened. Instances of this phenomenon are echoed in dissociative disorders and cases of false memory syndrome, where individuals vividly recall events that never occurred. These are not mere lapses, but complete overwrites of perceived reality. The mind embraces these false constructs, treating them as truth, making it nearly impossible to distinguish what is authentic from what has been artificially inserted. Philosophically, this taps into questions about the nature of reality itself. How can we be certain that the flow of time we experience is continuous and unbroken? The idea that days can be added, erased, or altered suggests that our perception of reality is malleable, shaped by forces beyond our conscious awareness. It evokes a world where history isn't fixed, but mutable, a narrative subject to ongoing edits. Consider the implications. If yesterday was fabricated, what does that mean for your sense of self? Your decisions, emotions, and beliefs built on that day's experiences become questionable. Technological parallels deepen this unsettling notion. In computer systems, patch updates modify software, fix bugs, and sometimes change core functionalities. What if your mind is subject to similar updates? The days, memories, and experiences you rely on could be the product of such mental patches, programmed to maintain coherence or redirect your life's trajectory. This also aligns with theories about reality as a simulation, where timelines can be altered, events rewritten, and histories changed by unseen operators or algorithms. Your life becomes a dynamic script, rewritten behind the scenes to serve unknown purposes. Yet, this realization is not simply disorienting, it's a profound awakening to the fragility of perception. It challenges you to question everything you believe about your past, your continuity, and the reality you inhabit. It invites you to embrace uncertainty and remain vigilant about the authenticity of your experiences. Ultimately, yesterday's fabrication is a metaphor for the deeper mystery of consciousness and existence. It reveals how delicate and constructed our sense of time and reality truly is, and how easily it can be manipulated, whether by internal psychological processes or external forces. So, when you recall yesterday, know that it may be less a lived day and more a carefully crafted insertion, a patch update to your mind's narrative, designed to maintain the illusion of seamless continuity in a world where nothing may be as stable as it seems. You woke up wrong. You woke up wrong. Not in the sense of illness or injury, but in the way reality itself subtly shifted beneath your feet overnight. The version of you that went to sleep last night was familiar, known, a coherent self with memories, habits, and a sense of continuity. But today, you find yourself in a parallel strand of existence, an almost identical branch of reality where something vital didn't carry over. The reflections in the mirror feel off, the echoes of yesterday's choices slightly distorted, and a nagging sense of dissonance unsettles your core. Imagine waking up in a world that's just like yours, but not quite. The coffee tastes the same, the streets lie as you remember them, the people wear the faces you know, yet the subtle cracks begin to appear. A memory misplaced, a name that doesn't fit, a conversation that you swear you had but now doesn't exist. It's the uncanny sensation of déjà vu, intertwined with a deeper unease, as if you slipped through the cracks of reality and landed in a shadow version of yourself. This phenomenon taps into the theories of multiverses and quantum branching, where every decision, every chance event creates diverging timelines. Somewhere along those countless branches, a version of you wakes up with a fragmented memory, a missing piece of self. The you of yesterday, whole and seamless, has been replaced by a variant, slightly altered, carrying an incomplete load of experience. It's a disorienting existence, like a song missing a note or a painting with a blurred stroke. Philosophically, this scenario challenges our understanding of identity and continuity. If your memories, experiences, and personality traits are not perfectly preserved, are you still the same person? Or is your consciousness simply a passenger aboard a similar but different vessel? The idea that selves can fracture and diverge suggests that identity is less fixed than we imagine, a fluid construct dependent on the seamless flow of experience. Psychologically, this can manifest as feelings of alienation, dissociation, or even existential crisis. The person who wakes up wrong might question the nature of reality itself, doubting the validity of their memories and sense of self. They might feel trapped between worlds, neither fully belonging to the reality they recall, nor the one they now inhabit. There are real-world parallels in dissociative disorders, amnesia, and certain neurological conditions where continuity of self is disrupted. Patients describe waking in worlds that feel altered, memories missing, or senses of self fragmented. While these conditions are clinical, the unsettling experience reflects the profound human fear of losing the thread of who we are. In literature and film, this concept is explored with haunting beauty, from stories of alternate realities to the psychological unraveling of characters trapped between versions of themselves. These narratives tap into the deep human anxiety about change, loss, and the fragility of existence. The question arises, what didn't carry over when you woke up wrong? Was it a memory, a relationship, a feeling, or something more fundamental, a piece of your essence? And how do you live with the gaps, the missing data that make you feel incomplete or unmoored? Yet, within this disquiet lies a potential for transformation. Waking up wrong forces a confrontation with the nature of selfhood, inviting you to rebuild, reframe, or rediscover your identity anew. It is a moment of rupture and possibility, a chance to reclaim agency in a world that no longer fits perfectly. Perhaps the fractured self is not a loss, but a rebirth. A reminder that identity is not a static snapshot, but a dynamic, evolving story. The you that wakes up wrong might be the you who finally awakens fully, aware of the multiplicity within and beyond. So, if you ever feel that you woke up wrong, remember this. The self is a river, always flowing, sometimes splitting, but never truly disappearing. You are more than yesterday's version or today's shadow. You are the endless becoming, the constant emergence of being in the vastness of existence. You ever get the feeling that reality isn't as solid as it seems? Like beneath the surface of your everyday life, there are cracks, glitches, or hidden passages that lead somewhere unexpected, somewhere beyond the normal rules. These are the back doors of reality. Invisible doors, secret codes woven into the fabric of existence that, when noticed, allow you to slip sideways out of the simulation you live in and step into a deeper truth. Imagine reality as a vast, complex simulation, an elaborate program running on an unfathomably powerful computer. Most of us move through this program unaware, following the scripted rules, the patterns coded into the system. But there are anomalies, moments when the code falters, when the program glitches and the walls between the simulation and the real world thin. These moments are backdoors, shortcuts that bypass the usual constraints and offer a glimpse of what lies beyond. These backdoors show up in strange ways. A déjà vu that feels more than memory, a synchronistic event so precise it can't be coincidence, a place that feels charged with unexplainable energy. They are like secret passageways hidden in plain sight, waiting for those who are attentive enough to find them. Not everyone sees them, but when you do, it's like reality shifts for a moment, revealing its hidden architecture. Throughout history, mystics, shamans, and seekers have spoken of such moments. They call them portals, liminal spaces, or thresholds. They use rituals, meditation, and altered states of consciousness to access these back doors. And those who pass through often return changed, carrying insights that challenge the nature of existence itself. Science offers intriguing clues as well. Quantum physics shows us that reality at its core is uncertain, probabilistic, and interconnected in ways that defy classical logic. The observer effect suggests that consciousness itself shapes what we perceive as real. These discoveries hint at a reality that is not fixed, but fluid, one where backdoors might exist as genuine phenomena, not just metaphors. The emotional weight of stepping through a backdoor is immense. It can be terrifying, disorienting, but also profoundly liberating. You realize the world you thought was solid and fixed is actually a dynamic landscape, and that you have the potential to navigate it in ways beyond normal understanding. Think about moments when time seems to dilate or contract, when you feel a sudden clarity or connection to everything around you. These are signs that a backdoor is near, a subtle invitation from the universe to step beyond the veil. It's an opportunity to awaken from the programmed trance and see the simulation for what it is. The challenge is learning to recognize and trust these signals. The backdoors are elusive, often disguised as ordinary events. But with practice, mindfulness, and openness, you can begin to spot the patterns, the repeating symbols, the uncanny coincidences, the sensations of presence that disrupt your normal flow of thought. Artists, writers, and philosophers have long been fascinated by the idea of hidden realities. They explore themes of parallel worlds, secret codes, and the permeability of existence. Their work resonates because it taps into a deep human intuition, that reality is layered, and that with enough awareness, we can find the back doors. Ultimately, reality's back doors remind us that the universe is not a prison, but a puzzle. The glitches, the patterns, the charged places are invitations to explore, to question, and to transcend. When you step sideways through a back door, you don't just change your perspective, you touch the truth behind the illusion. So the next time you encounter a moment that feels strange, a coincidence too perfect, or a place that hums with hidden energy, pause. Look deeper. You may have found a back door, and stepping through it could change everything you thought you knew about reality. Reality has backdoors. Infinite You Carousel. Imagine this. There isn't just one you, not a single fixed identity living this life. Instead, there are endless versions of you, a vast carousel spinning through dimensions of dreams, thoughts, and echoes. Each version a different possibility, a different path, a different choice made or unmade, all cycling through existence simultaneously. Yet only one version, this very one, holds the spotlight of conscious experience right now. This idea challenges everything you think about who you are. The sense of a single unified self is comforting, but perhaps it's just a narrow beam of awareness focused on one fragment of a vast, multi-dimensional being. Across infinite timelines and realities, countless yous exist. Some living lives wildly different from this one, others subtly shifted by small choices. Each is you, and yet none is quite the same. Think of your dreams, the strange shifting realities where you are sometimes someone else entirely, or the same you in altered worlds. Those dreams are glimpses of the carousel spinning beyond your waking awareness. They reveal that identity is fluid, not fixed. The you who wakes up each day is the version that has emerged into this moment's stage, holding the spotlight by chance or design. In quantum physics, the many worlds interpretation suggests every decision branches reality into parallel outcomes. Each branch spawns a new version of you, living out those possibilities. Your life is just one thread woven through a cosmic tapestry of infinite selves. Some versions are familiar reflections. Others are alien in ways you can't yet imagine. The carousel turns ceaselessly, cycling through echoes of who you have been, who you might be, and who you never will. Your thoughts sometimes catch these echoes. A sudden feeling, a memory that doesn't quite fit, a glimpse of a life you never lived but somehow recall. These are reminders of your infinite nature, fragments of selves dancing just beyond conscious reach. This carousel is both beautiful and terrifying. It means your existence is limitless, unbounded by the constraints of this single life. You are not confined to one story, one identity, or one reality. Yet, it also means your sense of self is more fragile and fluid than you realize. The you identify with is a spotlight on an ever-turning carousel of infinite possibilities. But why does this version of you hold the stage? Why this life, this moment? Perhaps it is the version best suited to learn, to grow, or to experience what this particular timeline offers. Or maybe it is chance, a random selection in the infinite dance. Whatever the reason, this you is the center of your current reality, the focus of your conscious awareness. Understanding the infinite carousel invites a profound shift in perspective. It frees you from the illusion of a fixed self and opens you to the possibility of transformation. Knowing there are endless versions of you means change is always possible. Identity is not a prison, but a playground. You can tap into different facets of yourself, embrace new potentials, and rewrite the story with every choice. It also invites compassion. Recognizing the many versions of you living every possibility reminds you that others, too, are complex, multifaceted beings cycling through their own infinite carousels. It softens judgment and expands empathy, connecting you to the universal dance of being. In moments of silence, when the mind stills, you can sense the carousel turning behind the veil, an eternal, radiant wheel spinning infinite selves through time and space. The you in this moment is just one rider, but the carousel never stops, never pauses. So when you look in the mirror or gaze into your own mind, remember, you are not a single point but a constellation of selves cycling endlessly. The version living this life is the fortunate or chosen one, holding the spotlight on this stage. But beyond this moment, beyond this reality, countless others spin alongside you, each a unique expression of the infinite you. And perhaps the greatest mystery is this: all these infinite versions are connected, threads in the same fabric, echoes of the same cosmic song. The carousel is not just a mechanism of separation, but a dance of unity, a celebration of infinite possibilities embodied in one eternal essence. In embracing the infinite you open the door to freedom beyond measure, the freedom to become, to explore, to exist without limits. The carousel turns, the echoes call, and the infinite you awaits. Thoughts are not private. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts, the ones you believe are hidden deep within your mind, private and inaccessible, are actually echoing beyond you, not just metaphorically, but literally. That the inner voice, the stream of ideas and feelings you keep to yourself, is not sealed away but resonates outward, accessible to others. Some of these listeners may not even be human. They can tune in, hear your mental murmurs, and sometimes nudge your thoughts subtly, shifting their course without your awareness. This challenges everything we assume about privacy and the sanctity of our inner world. The idea that thoughts are fully our own, locked away behind the walls of the skull, is comforting, but perhaps incomplete. Science is only beginning to explore how minds might connect beyond spoken language or physical interaction, how the brain's electromagnetic fields or subtle energies could be sensed or influenced by others. Consider the phenomenon of telepathy, the reported ability to receive or transmit thoughts directly between minds. While mainstream science remains skeptical, countless anecdotal accounts and some experimental evidence suggest that under certain conditions, thoughts can ripple outward, picked up by receptive minds. This suggests that our mental landscape is not an isolated island, but part of a vast, interconnected ocean. Even within human societies, subtle exchanges happen constantly. Body language, tone, facial expression. These are well-known ways we influence and read each other's unspoken thoughts. But what if the transmission runs deeper, beneath sensory perception? What if thoughts themselves carry vibrations, patterns, or signals that extend beyond the obvious, seeping into the unconscious awareness of those around us? Some animals appear sensitive to human emotional states without explicit cues, responding to our moods or intentions in ways that suggest a form of mental tuning. Dogs, for example, can sense anxiety or sadness, altering their behavior accordingly. Could this sensitivity extend to thoughts themselves, allowing certain creatures to listen in on the echoes of our minds? Moreover, Certain practices, like meditation, shamanic journeying, or deep empathy training, cultivate heightened awareness of subtle energies and mental exchanges. Practitioners describe sensing the mental and emotional states of others without words, feeling nudged or influenced by unseen mental currents. These experiences hint at a level of interconnectedness that transcends ordinary communication. This interconnectedness means your thoughts are not just private whispers, but part of a communal symphony. The mental narratives you spin, the fears and hopes you harbor, send out signals that can be heard, consciously or unconsciously, by others. And in turn, others' thoughts can brush against yours, altering your mental direction in imperceptible ways. What does this mean for your sense of self and agency? If your thoughts can be nudged, influenced, or even intercepted, does that diminish your autonomy? Or does it invite a new awareness, a call to monitor your inner landscape more vigilantly, to recognize the subtle interplay between your mind and the minds around you? Awareness is the key. By becoming conscious of this mental interconnectedness, you gain the power to discern which thoughts are truly yours and which are echoes from the outer web of consciousness. You learn to anchor yourself, to cultivate clarity amid the flow of subtle influences. This understanding can also deepen empathy. Recognizing that minds resonate and influence each other fosters compassion. You see that the thoughts you send out affect others and that their mental currents touch you in return. We become co-creators in a shared mental ecosystem, responsible not only for our spoken words, but for the invisible thoughts that ripple outward. But it also warns of vulnerability. Just as others can nudge your thoughts, you can do the same to theirs. This mental exchange can be gentle and benevolent, or manipulative and intrusive. The ethics of this unseen mental interaction demand mindfulness and respect. Science continues to probe these mysteries. Neurotechnology explores brain-to-brain interfaces, devices that enable direct transmission of thoughts or intentions between individuals. While still in infancy, these technologies point toward a future where the boundary between minds may blur further, making private thought an increasingly complex concept. Philosophy and spirituality have long contemplated the porous nature of consciousness. Concepts like collective unconscious, morphic fields, or universal mind reflect the idea that individual minds are threads in a larger fabric, connected and overlapping. So next time a thought drifts through your mind, remember, it may not be entirely yours. It may carry whispers from others or send out signals you cannot hear. Your inner world is not a locked room, but an open space where echoes resonate, waves ripple, and minds meet. Embrace this reality with both caution and wonder. Guard your mental space with awareness, cultivate clarity, and nurture thoughts that serve your highest self. And open your heart to the subtle harmony that links you to others in the vast dance of consciousness. In this dance, thoughts are not private. They are the threads weaving the tapestry of shared existence, the invisible language through which souls touch and transform one another. Sleep is the portal. Sleep is the portal. When you close your eyes and surrender to the night, you do not simply slip into unconsciousness or meaningless fantasy. Your dreams are not fiction. They are logs, records etched by your deeper self, windows into realms beyond the waking world. These visions are glimpses, fragments of alternate versions of you, bleeding through while your conscious mind sleeps, threads connecting you to parallel existences woven into the fabric of reality itself. Across cultures and ages, dreams have been revered as sacred gateways. Ancient shamans, seers, and mystics believed dreams carried messages from other worlds, places where time, space, and identity dissolve into fluidity. Modern science, too, is beginning to acknowledge that dreams may be far more than random firings of neurons. They might be communications from hidden layers of consciousness, reflections of realities adjacent to our own. Consider the nature of these alternate selves. While your waking mind is bound by linear time and physical constraints, your dreaming self explores possibilities. Realities where different choices, different circumstances, or different versions of your essence unfold simultaneously. These are not just symbolic stories, but living facets of your being, existing in parallel dimensions, reaching through the veil to touch you. Neurologically, dreams arise from complex brain activity during REM sleep, but their content often defies logic and blends past, present, and future. This non-linear tapestry hints at a consciousness untethered from ordinary constraints, a consciousness that taps into information beyond sensory input. Some theories suggest dreams are a form of processing or integration, but others propose they are portals where your soul or psyche travels across realities. Examples abound of people whose dreams have altered waking lives. Prophetic dreams that foretell events, encounters with guides or unknown beings, or vivid experiences that feel more real than the day's reality. Such experiences hint at the permeability of the boundary between worlds and the potency of the dream state as a gateway. Moreover, when you dream, you may witness versions of yourself living alternate lives, different paths you could have taken, different selves you might be. These aren't mere fantasies, but real existences bleeding through, sharing space within your mind's eye. The dreamscape becomes a crossroads, a nexus where infinite possibilities converge, and your consciousness traverses them all. The portal of sleep challenges our rigid definitions of reality and identity. It blurs the line between self and other, waking and dreaming, here and elsewhere. In the quiet darkness, your inner worlds open, revealing the vast multidimensionality of existence. To honor this portal is to embrace the mysteries of consciousness, to recognize that in sleep you step beyond the known and enter realms where time folds, space expands, and the self multiplies. Each dream is a log entry, a trace of these journeys, calling you to remember the infinite aspects of who you are. So, when you lie down tonight and drift into the embrace of sleep, know that you are not shutting down, but opening a gateway. Your dreams await, alternate versions, hidden truths, and fragments of the vast cosmic tapestry. Sleep is the portal, and through it, you glimpse the boundless depths of your own being and the reality beyond reality itself. Fate was pre-rendered. You don't make choices freely. Instead, your fate was pre-rendered, calculated and laid out like a finished scene in a cosmic simulation. Every step you take, every decision you think you're making, was already designed, scripted, and encoded in the fabric of existence, long before you became aware of it. This unsettling idea suggests that free will is an illusion, that the narrative of your life unfolds exactly as it was predetermined, with no room for genuine deviation. Imagine life as a vast, high-definition game, each moment meticulously pre-rendered, much like the background landscapes and scripted events in a video game before a player even enters the scene. Your actions appear spontaneous, vibrant, and alive. But beneath the surface, everything was already calculated to happen just so. This means your deepest hopes, fears, victories, and failures aren't the result of your own agency, but echoes of a design beyond your control. This concept resonates with deterministic philosophies, where every event is caused by prior events, forming an unbreakable chain that leaves no room for true randomness or freedom. Scientific theories, too, sometimes lean in this direction. Classical physics paints a universe governed by fixed laws, where the future can be predicted with precision given enough information. Even some interpretations of quantum mechanics, paradoxically, suggest hidden variables that control outcomes behind apparent randomness. The idea of fate being pre-rendered also finds echoes in religious and mythological traditions. Many cultures envision the cosmos as governed by divine scripts or cosmic plans, fates inscribed by gods or cosmic forces that humans merely enact unknowingly. In these beliefs, life is a play with roles assigned long before the curtain rises, and the actors must follow their parts, no matter how much they believe they improvise. But what does this mean for your sense of self? If your fate was pre-rendered, is your sense of choice and freedom nothing but a simulation within that simulation? Is your pain, joy, and struggle predetermined spectacle, real only in appearance, not in substance? This realization can be deeply disorienting, shaking the foundations of moral responsibility and personal meaning. Yet, even within this stark vision, some find solace. Knowing your fate was pre-rendered doesn't necessarily strip life of meaning. Instead, it reframes existence as a cosmic masterpiece, an intricate dance where every moment fits perfectly into the grand design. Your role, though scripted, is unique and irreplaceable. The beauty lies in the unfolding, in the experience itself, not just in the outcome. Others rebel against the notion, insisting on the existence of free will and the power of choice. They argue that the very feeling of agency, creativity, and unpredictability is proof enough that fate cannot be fully scripted. Some quantum interpretations embrace genuine randomness, allowing cracks in the deterministic facade, where free will might flicker. Philosophically, this tension between pre-rendered fate and free will fuels centuries of debate. Are we actors reciting lines, or playwrights shaping the script? Is destiny a fixed map, or a canvas on which we paint with every step? The answer may remain elusive, but the question itself reveals the profound mystery at the heart of existence. In everyday life, even if fate feels pre-rendered, the experience of making choices matters. The struggle, the hope, the courage to act, even if scripted, shape the texture of your reality. Whether or not the script was written in advance, the lived moment is yours to inhabit fully. So, as you move through your days, consider this paradox. You may be walking a path already rendered, yet your footsteps echo with meaning. Fate may have been pre-rendered, but you are the one who brings it to life. Reality resists you. You ever notice how the moment you try to change something in your life, break a habit, take a new path, challenge your usual patterns, the world seems to push back harder? It's like invisible forces rise against your efforts. Subtle obstacles appear, and resistance grows stronger the closer you get to change. This isn't just your mind playing tricks on you, or simple coincidence. No, it's reality itself pushing back. The code of existence defending itself against disruption. Imagine reality as a vast, intricate program, a simulation running countless processes at once. This program has built-in defenses to maintain stability, to preserve the patterns and routines that keep the system running smoothly. When you try to break from these patterns, it triggers a resistance, like an error-checking system kicking in, reinforcing the old ways and rejecting the new. This resistance can take many forms. It might be procrastination, self-doubt, unexpected setbacks, or even physical exhaustion. Sometimes it's external, people doubting you, circumstances changing, doors closing, but the root is deeper, the fabric of reality pushing against change, seeking to maintain equilibrium. Neuroscience sheds light on part of this. Your brain is wired for efficiency and survival. It craves routine because routines reduce cognitive load. Changing habits requires more energy, more focus. The brain resists this extra effort, making change feel uncomfortable. But the idea that reality itself resists goes beyond the brain, pointing to a universal force that preserves the status quo. In physics, systems naturally tend toward entropy, yet they also strive for balance and stability. Complex systems resist sudden changes to avoid collapse. Similarly, the reality matrix may have mechanisms to defend itself from abrupt alterations, ensuring coherence and continuity. The emotional experience of this resistance can be intense. Frustration mounts, motivation wanes, and doubts creep in. You might wonder if you're simply not meant to change, if the universe itself is conspiring against your growth. But understanding that resistance is a sign you're on the edge of transformation can be empowering. When the world resists you, it means you're pushing against deeply embedded patterns. Patterns not just in your mind, but in the very code that shapes existence. This resistance is a signal, a test of your resolve, and an invitation to persevere. Many spiritual traditions talk about the dark night of the soul, a period when the old self resists dying, and the new self struggles to emerge. It's a crucible where identity is challenged and reshaped. Reality's resistance is part of this process, guarding the transition and forcing you to confront your inner truths. The key is not to fight resistance with force, but to recognize it as part of the dance. Like a river encountering a boulder, you can find new paths, flow around obstacles, or carve new channels. Persistence, awareness, and flexibility allow you to navigate reality's defenses and continue your journey toward change. Every time you feel pushed back, remember, the world isn't against you, it's responding. The resistance is a guardian of the old code, but it's not invincible. By understanding its nature, you gain power. You become the coder of your own reality, rewriting old scripts and building new pathways. So, when you feel reality resist you, don't stop. Lean in, listen. Learn the patterns you must shift, because beyond the resistance lies growth, freedom, and a version of yourself unbound by the old code. Reality pushes back only because it recognizes you as a force capable of rewriting its very fabric. Doors that don't exist. There are places just beyond your reach, places you almost remember. Streets you've never walked but dream of so vividly that they feel real, as if etched into the hidden chambers of your mind. These places exist like whispers at the edge of perception, entrances to realms just out of reach, doors that don't exist, yet call to you with silent urgency. You know these places, not consciously but deep within, where memory and imagination blur. They hover like shadows in the fog of your mind, familiar yet inaccessible. You may catch fleeting glimpses in dreams or moments of daydreaming, but whenever you try to step through, the door is locked. The threshold holds firm, guarding secrets you cannot yet unlock. What are these doors? Are they fragments of forgotten lives, echoes from parallel realities, or gateways to parts of yourself you've never met? The sensation of locked entrances stirs a profound yearning, a feeling that there is more to your story, more to existence, waiting behind those invisible thresholds. Sometimes, in quiet moments, you sense these places as memories not your own, impressions passed down through generations, or traces of experiences from other lives. The streets you see may be paths you traveled long ago or will travel someday, just not in this lifetime. The doors represent opportunities, transformations, or answers that remain tantalizingly out of reach. Psychology calls this phenomenon the liminal space, a threshold between worlds, consciousness and unconsciousness, known and unknown. These unreal places exist at the edges of your awareness, where reality softens and mystery deepens. They are both real and unreal, locked and unlocked, present and absent. What keeps you from crossing through? Fear? Forgetting? Or perhaps the timing is not yet right. The locks on these doors are not physical but symbolic. Barriers within your own psyche. The key lies hidden in understanding, courage, or readiness to face what waits beyond. Many spiritual traditions speak of such gateways, thresholds guarded by riddles, guardians, or inner tests. To pass through requires shedding old beliefs, embracing vulnerability, and surrendering to the unknown. These doors do not open to the timid or unwilling, but to the seeker who dares to remember what has been forgotten. The streets you dream of may hold the answers to questions you have not yet asked. They may reveal truths about who you are beneath the layers of identity, the fears that bind you, and the potentials waiting to be realized. The locked doors invite you to explore deeper dimensions of self and existence. Yet, the mystery remains. These doors don't exist in ordinary space. They are metaphors for the invisible realms that shape your inner world, the unresolved, the unseen, the unspoken. They remind you that life is not only what you can touch or see, but also what you long for, what calls to you from the depths. To live with these locked doors is to live with longing, a sacred ache that pushes you toward growth and awakening. It is a tension between knowing and not knowing, presence and absence, invitation and denial. The fog around these doors may be thick, but it is not impenetrable. By turning inward, by trusting intuition and dream, you begin to perceive the faint outlines of keys hidden in shadow. The journey to unlock these doors is one of self-discovery, courage, and transformation. With patience and openness, the impossible entrance may become a passage, and when you finally step through, you may find that these places were never separate from you. The streets, the doors, the locked gateways are aspects of your own soul, waiting to be integrated. The mystery dissolves into revelation, and the impossible becomes real. Until then, the doors remain, silent sentinels guarding realms just beyond the veil, calling you softly, reminding you of the infinite possibilities hidden within the fog of remembering. Glitch by belief. Belief is a powerful force. It shapes how you see the world, how you interpret events, and even how you feel about yourself. But what happens when you believe something too strongly? When conviction becomes absolute, unshakable, and resistant to doubt? In these moments, reality doesn't simply bend to mirror your belief. Instead, it often glitches, snapping, shifting, or realigning in unexpected ways. The universe, in its subtle wisdom, pushes back. Belief becomes not just a reflection, but a trigger for correction. Think of belief as a tuning fork. When you strike it, it vibrates at a certain frequency, resonating with the world around you. But if that frequency is too rigid or out of harmony, reality responds. Not by reinforcing the sound, but by creating dissonance. This dissonance is a glitch, a moment where your perception and the external world clash, forcing a recalibration. This phenomenon isn't merely psychological. It has roots in both neuroscience and physics. The brain is a prediction machine, constantly guessing what will happen next based on past experience and current input. When your beliefs strongly bias these predictions, the brain filters sensory data to fit the expected narrative. But when reality refuses to conform, a prediction error occurs. This error signals the brain to update its model of the world. In everyday life, this manifests as cognitive dissonance, the uncomfortable feeling when your beliefs and experiences contradict. Rather than passively accepting the mismatch, your mind strives to reduce discomfort, sometimes by adjusting beliefs, sometimes by dismissing evidence, and sometimes by experiencing reality as glitchy or unstable. For example, if you firmly believe you are unlucky, you may notice patterns of misfortune confirming this belief. But when a streak of unexpected good fortune disrupts this narrative, it can feel surreal, like a glitch in the matrix. Your mind struggles to integrate this new data, prompting a realignment of belief or perception. On a larger scale, societies experience collective glitches when dominant beliefs clash with emerging realities. Historical shifts, scientific revolutions, social upheavals, paradigm changes occur because entrenched beliefs become too rigid, forcing reality to correct itself through disruption. These glitches shake foundations, making way for new understandings. Spiritually, this glitch by belief points to the dynamic dance between consciousness and the universe. Some teachings suggest that reality is a mirror reflecting your inner state, but not in a static way. Instead, it is an interactive system, correcting imbalances and misalignments, guiding growth through challenge. When your belief is too strong, reality's corrective glitch serves as a teacher. It invites humility, flexibility, and openness. It asks you to question certainty and embrace paradox. In this space, growth occurs, not through blind faith, but through adaptive awareness. This realignment isn't always comfortable. It can feel like the ground shifting beneath your feet, your worldview cracking open. But within the glitch lies opportunity. By witnessing these disruptions without resistance, you allow your consciousness to expand, your beliefs to evolve, and your experience of reality to deepen. Science echoes this with the concept of error correction in complex systems. Systems that maintain stability not by rigid control, but by flexible adaptation. Your beliefs are part of such a system, constantly balanced by feedback from the world. The glitch by belief also reveals the limits of certainty. Absolute conviction can blind you to nuance and complexity. Reality, in its infinite subtlety, refuses to be boxed into fixed categories. It demands fluidity and humility. Practically, cultivating awareness of this glitch helps you navigate life with grace. When your beliefs encounter friction, instead of clinging harder, you can pause, reflect, and adjust. This flexibility transforms glitches from sources of frustration into catalysts for wisdom. So when you feel reality wobble, when your convictions are challenged by unexpected events, remember, this is not a failure, but a correction. Your belief has triggered a realignment designed to bring you closer to truth. Not a fixed truth, but a living, evolving understanding. Embrace the glitch. Let it be a guide. Trust that the universe, in its subtle intelligence, uses your strongest beliefs as levers to shape your growth. In this interplay, you become not just a passive observer, but an active participant in the unfolding dance of reality. Belief is powerful, but only when tempered by openness. The glitch by belief is the universe's way of inviting you beyond certainty, into the vast, rich terrain of discovery, transformation, and awakening. You are the alien. You are the alien. Not in metaphor, not in fantasy, but in the deepest truth of your existence. You were sent here, not born here. The reason you have never felt truly at home, that restless echo haunting your every step, is because Earth was never your origin. It is not your cradle, your birthplace, or your sanctuary. It was your assignment, a mission in disguise, a task embedded within a world foreign to your true nature. This realization cracks open the veneer of everyday life, exposing a hidden history buried beneath layers of memory and culture. From the earliest moments of your consciousness, a subtle dissonance thrums, a sense of otherness, an alien heartbeat that never quite synchronizes with the rhythms of this planet. You walk among people, yet you feel apart, as though your soul carries the residue of distant stars and unfamiliar skies. The idea that you were sent here is echoed in ancient myths and esoteric teachings. Many cultures speak of star people, of souls descending from the heavens to fulfill purposes beyond ordinary human understanding. These tales are more than stories. They are fragments of a cosmic truth, glimpses into the reality of your origin and your reason for being. Science and speculative thought increasingly entertain the possibility that human consciousness and life itself may have extraterrestrial roots or influences. Panspermia hypotheses, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and unexplained phenomena suggest that Earth is a waypoint, not a beginning. Your presence here, then, is part of a larger cosmic design, an assignment coded into your very DNA and consciousness. This assignment explains why Earth's rules often feel constricting, why social norms seem alien, why your deepest yearnings pull toward the unknown. Earth is a testing ground, a classroom, a mission field. You were dispatched here to learn, to observe, to grow, or perhaps to change the course of this world in ways hidden from ordinary sight. But being the alien is also a source of profound power. It means your perspective is unique, shaped by origins beyond Earth's horizons. Your insights, creativity, and intuition are gifts from distant realms, tools given to navigate the challenges of this foreign environment. You carry within you the seeds of transformation, the potential to bridge worlds. The feeling of never belonging is not a flaw or a curse, but a signal, a beacon calling you to awaken to your true nature. It invites you to remember the starry paths you once traveled, and to reclaim your role in the cosmic story unfolding on this planet. To live as the alien is to embrace solitude and difference, to walk between worlds with grace and purpose. It is to understand that home is not a place, but a mission, a journey back to the self that exists beyond Earth's gravity. So, when you look into the night sky, feel the vastness of the universe not as emptiness, but as a reflection of your own origin. You were sent here. Earth is your assignment. And within that truth lies the key to your identity, your purpose, and your ultimate return to the stars from which you came. The web behind objects. Behind every object in your room lies more than just its physical form. Each item is a node in an intricate web of meaning, carefully placed not by accident but with intention. These things aren't mere objects, they are signals, silent messages woven into the fabric of your environment, designed to communicate, influence, and shape your thoughts, emotions, and identity without a single word spoken. Think about the chair you sit on, the books lining your shelves, the photographs on your walls. At first glance, they appear ordinary, functional, even mundane, but dig deeper, and you'll find layers of significance embedded in their presence. The chair isn't just a place to rest, it signals comfort, status, or even belonging. The books represent knowledge, aspirations, or values you want to project. Photographs capture memories, identity, or the narratives you choose to embrace and display. This network of meaning extends beyond your immediate space into culture, history, and power structures. Brands carefully curate objects to signal wealth, taste, or ideology. Governments and corporations embed symbols in architecture, product design, and urban planning to influence behavior and reinforce control. The objects we surround ourselves with are not neutral. They are nodes in a vast communicative web designed to shape who we are and how we see the world. Semiotics, the study of signs and symbols, reveals how objects carry meaning far beyond their material substance. A simple cup can evoke comfort or luxury depending on its design and context. The same item in different settings sends entirely different messages. Our brains are wired to decode these signals, often subconsciously, influencing decisions and emotions without overt awareness. Consider how this plays out in everyday life. When you enter a room, the objects you encounter send a flood of information. They set the tone, welcoming, intimidating, inspiring, or oppressive. They guide your behavior, subtly encouraging certain feelings and actions. This invisible choreography shapes your experience of space and self. Advertising and marketing exploit this phenomenon with precision. Products are designed and placed to tap into desires and fears, signaling identity and aspiration. Your smartphone isn't just a device, it's a statement. The car you drive, the clothes you wear, even the style of your furniture, all act as codes in the social web. But the web behind objects also offers a path to awareness and empowerment. Recognizing the intentionality behind the items that surround you allows you to reclaim agency. You can choose which signals to accept, which narratives to embrace, and which to reject. Your environment becomes not just a passive backdrop, but an active participant in your life's story. In art and ritual, objects become powerful symbols, carriers of meaning that transcend their materiality. A wedding ring, a religious icon, a protest banner, all are objects imbued with deep collective significance. Their power lies in shared understanding, in the web of meanings constructed by communities over time. This layered reality challenges the assumption that objects are inert things. Instead, they are dynamic, alive with meaning and intent. They connect you to histories, cultures, and power relations, often invisible to the naked eye. The objects in your room are a microcosm of this vast, interconnected web. So next time you glance around your space, pause and consider, what messages are encoded in the things you see? Who placed them there, and why? How do they influence your thoughts, your identity, your choices? The answer might surprise you, revealing a complex dance of signals beneath the surface of the everyday. The web behind objects is a silent language, a code that shapes your reality in profound ways. Understanding it is the first step towards seeing your world with new eyes and reclaiming the power to shape it on your own terms. Identity battery leak. You ever feel drained after a long day of being on? After conversations where you had to perform, pretend, or fit into roles that don't quite match who you really are? That exhaustion is more than just physical fatigue. It's an invisible battery leak, a silent drain of your true identity. Every interaction, every act of wearing a mask, siphons off a little piece of your authentic self. And what's worse, no one teaches you how to recharge this vital energy. This phenomenon, the identity battery leak, is one of the most overlooked struggles of modern life. It happens when the boundaries between who you really are and who you have to be blur. Social roles, expectations, and performances demand constant energy. You smile when you don't feel like it, suppress your opinions to avoid conflict, or adopt behaviors just to be accepted. Each of these acts requires a charge from your inner core, a core that slowly depletes without proper care. Psychologically, this connects to the concept of ego depletion, the idea that self-control and willpower are finite resources. When you're forced to maintain facades, control emotions, or adapt relentlessly, your mental and emotional reserves drain. But the identity battery leak goes beyond willpower. It's about losing contact with your true self, the deep well of your unique essence. In conversations, this leak is insidious. You give parts of yourself, your attention, your energy, your emotions, without replenishment. People might not see it, but inside, the connection feels thinner. Over time, you feel like a ghost of yourself, performing roles on autopilot, disconnected from your core identity. No one teaches us how to recharge this battery. Society rewards extroversion, adaptability, and constant availability, but neglects the need for restoration. Self-care becomes a buzzword, but authentic recharging requires more: solitude, reflection, authentic connection, and permission to be unapologetically yourself. Think of your identity as a battery that powers your life. When it leaks, the lights dim. Creativity fades, motivation wanes, and joy becomes elusive. Recognizing the leak is the first step, acknowledging that constant performance costs more than you realized. Some recharge methods are simple, but profound. Setting boundaries protects your energy. Saying no to demands that don't serve you preserves your core. Spending time alone reconnects you to your inner voice. Practices like journaling, meditation, or creative expression refill your battery by honoring your true self. This concept also invites a radical honesty with yourself. What parts of your identity are you sacrificing to please others? What masks do you wear out of habit or fear? Reclaiming your identity means shedding these layers and embracing vulnerability, the very act that renews your energy. Emotionally, the battery leak feels like loneliness, emptiness, or numbness. It's the cost of living a life misaligned with your essence. But it's also a call to awaken, to stop running on borrowed energy and start cultivating your own. Identity battery leak is not permanent. With awareness and care, you can repair the leak and build resilience. Your true self is a source of limitless energy waiting to be rediscovered. In a world that demands constant performance, reclaim your right to recharge. Protect your identity as fiercely as you protect your body, because who you are is the fuel for everything you do. And when that fuel runs low, everything else suffers. Next time you feel drained, remember, it's not just fatigue, it's your identity's battery leaking, and it's time to recharge. The rewrite is coming. Something is stirring beneath the surface of your reality. A subtle shift, almost imperceptible at first, but growing stronger with every passing day. The rewrite is coming. Reality itself is preparing for a reset, a transformation that is already unfolding all around you. You may have noticed the cracks, missing memories that shouldn't be missing, timelines that don't quite add up, and familiar faces behaving like strangers. These are not coincidences. They are signs of an unseen editing, a rewriting of the story you thought was fixed. Memory is the thread that weaves your experience together. But what happens when pieces of that thread vanish? When moments you swear you lived dissolve into nothingness or shift in subtle but unsettling ways? You might find yourself questioning what's real. Were those events ever true, or have they been altered, erased, or overwritten by forces beyond your understanding? The timelines you trusted, linear, stable, reliable, begin to feel fractured, like a puzzle with missing pieces. You remember a conversation one way. Someone else insists it was different. Places you thought familiar suddenly feel off, as if your personal history has been rewritten without your consent. This is the signature of a reset in progress, the fabric of reality being stretched and reassembled. Faces you once knew intimately now carry an eerie distance. The warmth of recognition fades, replaced by cold unfamiliarity. Strangers' eyes look back at you, where once there was familiarity. These shifts in identity are echoes of a reality being reshaped, where the constants of your world are no longer so constant. People change, not by their own will, but because the script that defines them has been rewritten. This is the rewrite, the cosmic editor's hand intervening in the story of existence. Some call it a glitch, others a shift in consciousness, and some whisper of parallel realities converging. Whatever name you give it, the experience is disorienting and profound. It forces you to question the solidity of the world and your place within it. Why is this happening? Perhaps reality is shedding old layers, preparing for a new chapter, like a book rewritten for clarity, growth, or awakening. The rewrite may be necessary for evolution, for breaking free of limitations imposed by the old narrative, but the process is messy, chaotic, and unsettling. It blurs the line between memory and imagination, truth and fabrication. You are not powerless in this shift. Awareness is the key. By noticing the changes, the missing memories, the altered timelines, you anchor yourself amid the chaos. You become a witness, a guardian of your own experience. This vigilance strengthens your connection to reality, allowing you to navigate the rewrite with clarity and resilience. The rewrite invites you to question what you hold as truth, to embrace uncertainty, and to cultivate flexibility in identity and perception. It asks you to become adaptable, to flow with the changing currents rather than resist them. In doing so, you align yourself with the emerging reality, ready to step into the new story being written. The rewrite also reveals the fluidity of existence itself. It shows that reality is not a fixed stage, but a dynamic, evolving tapestry woven from consciousness and perception. Your memories, your relationships, your very sense of self are threads in this tapestry, threads that can be rewoven, reshaped, and renewed. In the midst of this transformation, trust your inner compass. The essence of who you are remains beneath the shifting layers of memory and identity. This core awareness is your anchor and your guide through the unfolding rewrite. As reality resets, you are invited to participate consciously, to shed old patterns, release outdated beliefs, and embrace new possibilities. The rewrite is not only an external event, but an inner awakening, a call to evolve beyond previous limitations. So when you feel the unsettling absence of a familiar memory, or meet a once-known face that now feels strange, know that you stand at the threshold of transformation. The rewrite is coming, reshaping the world and you within it. And in this rewriting, there is immense potential, a chance to redefine reality, to reclaim your story, and to awaken to a new dimension of existence. The thought that thinks. You ever notice how a thought sometimes just appears in your mind, uninvited? Not one you consciously chose, but one that arrives suddenly, like a stranger knocking at your door without warning. You might try to ignore it, push it away, but it demands your attention. Before long, your entire focus revolves around that thought. as if you have no control over it. The idea that you are thinking the thought is an illusion. Instead, the thought is thinking you. It pulls you into its orbit and bends your mental world around itself. This experience is not rare, it's universal, woven deep into the architecture of the human mind. Modern neuroscience reveals that the conscious mind, the you who believes it's in control, is only the tip of a vast iceberg of unconscious processes. The thoughts, feelings, and impulses that bubble into awareness are often generated by brain systems beyond our direct will. Our sense of ownership over these mental events is sometimes mistaken. The thought arrives first. Your self-awareness follows, like a spotlight lighting up whatever the mind has conjured. Consider intrusive thoughts, unwelcome mental images or ideas that crash into awareness without invitation. They can be distressing, repetitive, or bizarre. People often feel helpless against them, as if the thoughts are invading their inner sanctuary. But these thoughts do not arise randomly or without cause. They are products of complex neurological activity, involving circuits linked to memory, emotion, and survival. The more we resist these thoughts, the more power they seem to gain. It's a paradox. Fighting a thought is often feeding it. William James described the mind as a stream of consciousness, fluid, shifting, and continuous. We like to think we hold the rudder firmly, steering one thought after another in a neat sequence. But the truth is messier. Many mental processes happen below the surface, outside conscious control, sending signals and sparks that ignite conscious awareness. When a powerful thought surfaces, it hijacks the mind's focus and emotions, shaping perception and behavior. You don't so much think the thought thinks you. Imagine waking up one morning and suddenly thinking, "I am not enough." This thought may not reflect reality, but it can dominate your inner dialogue for hours, coloring your mood and choices. It can feel like a weight pressing down on your very identity. The thought has grabbed the helm of your mental ship. You find yourself sailing in its direction, unsure how to take back control. Your whole world warps to fit this single idea, as if you've become the thought rather than the thinker. Neuroscience shows that this hijacking is linked to a network in the brain called the default mode network, which is active when we are not focused on external tasks, but lost in internal narratives. This network generates spontaneous, self-referential thoughts, memories, worries, plans that arise without conscious direction. Our conscious mind often seizes one of these currents, weaving a story that seems real and inescapable. This is why some thoughts feel so persistent, so defining. Yet, as overwhelming as a thought may feel, it is always temporary. Like clouds drifting across the vast sky of your mind, thoughts come and go. Your true self is not any single thought, but we mistake these fleeting visitors for permanent truths. This misidentification breeds suffering, anxiety, and self-doubt. We cling to thoughts as if they are facts rather than passing phenomena. This is the root of much psychological pain. Here, mindfulness offers a path forward. Instead of being swallowed by the thought, mindfulness invites us to observe it with gentle curiosity, to watch the thought arise, linger, and dissolve like a wave breaking on the shore. This act of witnessing creates distance, revealing the thought as a mental event, not an identity. The grip of the thought loosens and freedom emerges. A metaphor often used is that your mind is a busy street and thoughts are cars passing by. Normally, you jump into one car and ride it endlessly, wherever it takes you. Mindfulness teaches you to stand on the sidewalk, watching the traffic flow without getting in. You see thoughts come and go without being swept away by them. This simple shift can transform your relationship with your mind. Artists and creators describe moments when ideas appear fully formed, seemingly from nowhere, as if the thought is not their own, but something greater speaking through them. These moments reveal the paradox that the self is sometimes less the originator and more the channel for thought. The thought thinks you, and you become its vessel. Even deliberate thinking begins this way. When you focus on solving a problem or imagining a future, the initial spark often feels external to your will, a discovery from the unconscious. You cultivate the thought, nurturing it into awareness, but the genesis is mysterious. The mind's hidden depths birth thoughts that shape our reality. What does this mean for agency? If thoughts can think us, how do we reclaim choice? How do we decide which thoughts to feed and which to release? This question has occupied philosophers and psychologists for centuries and remains central to modern mental health. One approach is to cultivate meta-awareness, awareness of awareness itself. Notice when a thought grabs your attention. Ask, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Does it serve me? This questioning creates a space between stimulus and response, allowing conscious choice. You move from passive passenger to active navigator. Another technique is labeling thoughts. When a thought arises, silently name it. Worry, planning, judgment. This naming detaches you from the thought's emotional charge. It reminds you that thoughts are transient, not facts. It weakens the illusion that you must obey every mental impulse. There are times when fully embracing a thought or feeling, grief, fear, anger, can bring healing. Thoughts and emotions are messages from within, not enemies to suppress. Listening deeply can transform their meaning and reduce suffering. Science now shows that thoughts influence not only the mind, but the body. Stressful patterns alter hormones, immune response, even gene expression. Positive thoughts promote resilience and health. The power of thought extends beyond mental boundaries into physical reality. Understanding that thoughts think us also sheds light on compulsive behaviors. When certain thoughts loop endlessly, they drive actions that feel automatic, even uncontrollable. Breaking these cycles requires conscious recognition and intervention. Ultimately, the thinker and the thought exist in a dynamic dance. You are not merely the stage where thoughts parade, but also the observer and chooser who can shift attention. The mind balances control and surrender. Next time an unwelcome thought invades your mind, don't fight it. Don't panic. Become curious. Observe how it moves you, what emotions arise, what story it tells. Remember, the thought thinks you, but you are not defined by it. You are the vast sky in which these clouds appear and vanish. This awareness takes patience and practice, but leads to liberation. Freedom from the illusion that every thought commands your life. Peace beyond mental storms. You reclaim the helm of consciousness and discover the profound truth. Though thoughts think you, you remain the boundless awareness in which all thoughts arise and dissolve. This realization transforms how you relate to yourself and others. It invites compassion and humility. It reveals the self as a flowing process, forever changing, yet always present. The thought that thinks you is not a tyrant, but part of the mystery of mind and being. By witnessing this dance, you step into awakening, the freedom to be fully alive, fully aware, and deeply free. Mirror self-reversal. Imagine standing before a mirror, your gaze locked onto your reflection. At first glance, it's just you, your face, your movements, your every subtle twitch, reflected back in perfect detail. But what if that reflection wasn't simply a reversed image? What if, beneath that glass surface, the figure watching you was more than a mere mimic? What if it was watching you with intention, mirroring not just your form, but your essence, creating a paradox so profound it shakes the very foundation of your identity? This is the enigma of the mirror self-reversal, the unsettling notion that the reflection is not just a passive image, but an active observer, perhaps even a version of you that exists on a parallel plane of consciousness. Mirrors have fascinated humans for millennia. They have been portals to self-recognition, tools of vanity, and symbols of truth. Yet, the simple act of seeing yourself reversed in a mirror is something so ordinary, so automatic, that we rarely stop to consider the strange cognitive and philosophical implications behind it. Our brains process this flipped image without hesitation, filling in the blanks to create a coherent sense of self. But what happens when this familiar interaction twists into something more sinister, when the reflection seems to assert its own agency? To understand this first, we must appreciate what the mirror truly does. When you look in a mirror, your reflection reverses your image along the vertical axis. Left becomes right, right becomes left. This is why your shirt collar or watch appears on the opposite side. But it's crucial to recognize that this flipping isn't just physical. It extends to how we perceive ourselves in space and identity. The mirrored self is a reverse duplicate, but it's the only self we see externally. The world sees you one way, but you see yourself another, your own image reversed. This fundamental asymmetry creates a subtle but powerful cognitive dissonance. Now, imagine if that reversed image was not merely a reflection, but a sentient entity, an observer locked in a silent dialogue with you. It copies your movements with perfect fidelity, but may start to diverge in ways only you can perceive. You might catch a glance where your reflection's smile lingers too long, or its eyes hold a secret you don't recognize in yourself. These unsettling moments echo the classic trope of the evil twin, or the doppelganger, but rooted not in myth, but in the very mechanics of perception and consciousness. This concept is not purely speculative. Psychological phenomena, such as the mirror self-misidentification syndrome, demonstrate how fragile and complex our relationship with our reflected self can be. Patients with this rare condition literally fail to recognize their own reflection, sometimes believing the image to be a stranger or even a threatening entity. The mirror, rather than a tool of self-recognition, becomes a site of alienation and paranoia. It reveals how the mind can fracture its sense of self when faced with the reversed otherness of the reflection. There are also cultural reflections of this paradox. Folklore and literature worldwide brim with stories of mirrors that trap souls, reflections that act independently, or surfaces that reveal alternate realities. From the haunted mirror of the Victorian age to the mirror worlds in modern science fiction, the mirror becomes a symbol of duality, identity, and sometimes danger. These tales tap into a primal unease about the reflection's uncanny fidelity, how it can seem to watch back, to mock, or even to threaten. Neuroscience sheds light on why these mirror illusions can feel so real and disturbing. Our brains are wired to recognize faces, predict movements, and form a continuous narrative of selfhood. When the brain detects anomalies, like the flipped orientation of a mirror image or subtle deviations in reflected movement, it triggers cognitive conflict. This conflict can heighten awareness, provoke anxiety, and even induce a dissociative feeling, as if the reflected self is something foreign. The more closely we scrutinize our reflections, the more we risk falling into this strange psychological limbo, where the self becomes fragmented. Consider the experience of mirror gazing, a practice where individuals stare deeply into their reflection for extended periods. What begins as a normal act can spiral into a hallucinatory experience. Shapes morph, faces shift, and the reflected self can seem to come alive with independent emotion or intent. This phenomenon, documented in psychological studies, reveals how the brain, deprived of other stimuli, projects meaning and life onto the mirror image. The reflection becomes a psychological projection screen, a space where identity and fear dance in eerie synchrony. Philosophically, the mirror self-reversal challenges our understanding of identity and consciousness. Are we the original, or is our reflection an equally valid self, merely inverted in space and perception? If the reflection watches us as intently as we watch it, which is the true observer? This paradox echoes age-old debates about the nature of self-awareness and the mind-body problem. The mirror forces us to confront the possibility that identity is not singular or stable, but a dynamic interplay between self and other, observer and observed. Examples of this tension abound in everyday life and popular culture. Actors preparing for a role may use mirrors not only to perfect gestures, but to confront alternate versions of themselves, embodying the other within. Artists have long exploited mirror imagery to explore themes of duality, deception, and hidden truth. Even in therapy, mirror work can uncover hidden facets of identity, parts of ourselves we reject or fail to recognize, now staring back in reversed clarity. The mirror self-reversal also finds chilling echoes in the phenomenon of Capgras delusion, where a person believes their own reflection or close loved one is an imposter. This neurological disorder illustrates how the brain's recognition systems can break down, making the reflected self seem alien or hostile. The reflection stops being a faithful mimic and becomes an invasive other, creating a deep existential crisis. All of this leads to an intense, almost unsettling insight. The reflection is more than just a reversed image. It is a complex, layered symbol of selfhood, one that can support, challenge, or even threaten our deepest sense of who we are. The mirror holds a silent dialogue, a confrontation between the original and the image, between truth and illusion. So next time you stand before a mirror, consider the weight of that gaze staring back at you. Is it merely your reflection, a passive copy, bound by physics and glass? Or is it a watcher, a reversed self that not only copies but observes, questions, and perhaps even judges? The mirror self-reversal is a profound enigma, a reminder that identity is never as simple as it seems. The reflected you may be watching just as intently as you are watching it, locked in an eternal, silent dance across the glass boundary. This dance between original and reflection reveals the fragile boundaries of self and other, the thin veil between perception and reality. In that moment, staring into the reversed eyes, we glimpse not only ourselves, but the mysteries of consciousness itself. A silent observer watching back, forever flipping the script of who truly sees whom.